your mother.
Welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Welcome back. Who do we got in the building? Shout out to United. Welcome. We also got our boy, Nick Ducetti. Welcome, guys. Very good to see you. We got an interesting show here. Tim Dillon was recently on, we can pull this up, right? Well, let's do this. Tim Dillon was recently on Chris Cuomo's show, and I thought it was, not a one-to-one comparison to the Dave Smith, Douglas Murray debate, but they definitely talk about it, and they talk about what I think that conversation could have been, and it works out a lot better. So let's just dive right in. As always, the video, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
And you're going to laugh for good reason. Look, I wanted to talk to Dillon because I believe that the comedian has a very unique place in cultural criticism. One of my personal heroes when it comes to philosophy and journalism is George Carlin, famous, sometimes infamous comedian. Now, also a profound student of history and economics and politics.
Let's have one button here. Okay. Tim Pool will never let you forget that, what's his face, almost got arrested.
We're going to talk about what boxes you should check.
Rather did get arrested.
To be relevant on digital media, and who checks them and who doesn't, and what is it really about. And Tim Dillon is someone who's having a conversation with this country in a way that many people in the media should envy. Tim Dillon, this is a great pleasure. Thank you for being part of the project.
They spelled his name
Thank
wrong.
you for having me. I appreciate you having me.
And I'm a big fan of the Roy Orbison homage, by the way. I want you to know that I can't get a read on you. You're in the Tulip Festival of the Netherlands. I can't see your eyes. I mean, you're a freaking enigma.
Whatever I say in these glasses, I have no responsibility for, but no, also it is the universal truth.
I get it. Everything you say by definition is a promise, which is why I did want to clear the air early on. You are a dead ringer for the guy who busted into Aniston's house.
For 1,000%. Everyone has showed me that. And I agree with him. I don't know what he did or why he did it, but when someone has that physicality that matches yours, I think he probably had something very important to talk to her about. And sometimes these security guards don't get it. They don't get it, especially in Bel Air. And I think he wanted to have a face-to-face, so I support him.
Did somebody rush Jennifer Aniston's house or something?
So, assuming it was you, which again is a very, very well-regarded theory. Yeah. You're a big shot. Everybody loves you. You couldn't just knock on the fucking door. You had to bash into her house.
Well, I don't know if the first two things are true. I think there are some people that love me, but I would have to, if I wanted to see Jennifer Aniston, there would be no other option than busting through the gate. I don't think my overtures would be, I don't think they would get to her. I think I would have to go through in a military style.
She is.
Yeah, I guess somebody bum rushed Jennifer Aniston's house. Breaking news.
Is known as a big fan of smart funny, and you are top of class when it comes to smart funny.
That's very nice of you to say. I've never met her. My friend David Spade knows her, and he says she's great and she's a big fan of comedy. That's what he said. So I believe him.
So, all right. So we'll let that go. Help me understand. I get the sunglasses, you're a man of mystery, you're a big shot, bi-coastal, the whole thing, but the tulips is an interesting play because,
this is like Chris Cuomo trying to be like, what would normal people have as like a just conversational beginning before we dive into the politics? He's so weird.
The tulips is an interesting play because, you're a strong-willed guy, strong opinions, and I feel like you're trying to get me off balance. Like, you want me to see the tulips. Oh, maybe he's in like a flowery mood. Maybe this is going to be light and polite.
I think we do a nice seasonal backdrop, and usually it's like the tulips or like a lake in the fall or a nice beach in the summer. We want to knock you off your axis so that I can kind of deliver these kind of nihilistic rants, but in a kind of upbeat and agreeable way, which is what we're hoping to do. Is we hope that people find it like a nice thing that comes into their home once a week.
Well, it has worked very well, and I think you put your finger on your waves of success. Agreeable nihilism seems to be the American vibe right now.
Yeah, I think you're correct on that. I think that a lot of people, myself included, feel like, and maybe we're wrong, but it feels like at some point, the people who were tasked with protecting the country and running it gave up on it. And that seems obvious.
Well, they gave up on running it for us. They're like, we can exist in this little area, and whatever happens to you guys, whatevs.
To a lot of people in many different ways. And I think illustrating it in a funny way is hopefully something that I try to do.
Well, I think you succeed at it. And I think that, one of the reasons, just one, other than just fanboying, that I wanted to talk to you was I wanted to talk to you about what is working and this world of comedy and cultural criticism, which I think is a really important space. George Carlin is a personal hero of mine, and it was obviously way ahead of his time because his rants were spot on to where we are. What is your take on that? We won't look at it through the lens of your own success because you're being too humble about it. But in terms of what works in the world of American culture when it comes to comedy, how do you see it?
I think anything can work as long as it's funny and as long as people feel that it resonates with them for whatever reason. So there are great comedians who talk only about their families and themselves and don't go into that cultural space. There are people like me who are on the internet and you do the show every week and you end up, you read the news all week and you digest it and you spit it out, hopefully in a funny way. But you have a lot of great comedians that are from every different genre. You have really funny people that.
Yeah, that's a big part that gets missed when we talk about, the comedians are the truth tellers. And it's like, yeah, sometimes. But, there's the Jim Gaffigans of the world who are very funny and don't talk about any of that kind of stuff. And there is definitely a whole other world of like, what's that guy with the puppets? I forget his name, but that's not really what most people consider stand-up comedy. But it's not always political.
That are on Saturday Night Live who do sketch comedy. There's very funny stand-up comedians that again could speak about perhaps only their personal life. Then you have comedians that are more in the space and I'm in, and I think the demands of the medium, being on the internet every week, you have to find things to talk about. After a while, you've told all the stories from your family and your childhood or whatever, and you...
Well, I guess we'll talk about this riot.
Kind of look at the world around you and you try to make it funny because a lot of it's insane. So a lot of it is very crazy. And I think comedy does a great job of, putting out, I don't want to say positive per se, because a lot of it isn't quite positive. The stuff I talk about, but like it's a way for people to digest what's happening in hopefully a funny way and a lighter way than they would by just reading a newspaper or reading an article online.
You're still getting the information, and maybe not to the degree that if you were reading the newspaper, but a lot of people aren't reading the newspaper either. Shout out to King Nirvana. Welcome to the party, sir. Nick is always right.
Let's unpack comedy. Where are we on the curve, in your opinion, in terms of what's allowed and what isn't allowed? Where do you think we are on that?
I think everything's allowed. I think people got very tired of being hyper judgmental. I think movements that are based on ideological purity are bound to fail because they're exhausting. People get very tired of these litmus tests, the word police, people like that. Eventually, movements that are based on that either become, sects of a religion, they become a violent,
left-wing cult,
whatever, anti-establishment movement, or they just peter out because people get bored. And I think that's where people were, after we had that kind of moral panic, people just got bored. And now people are just kind of sitting back, laughing at stuff. I think nuance is back. I think people realize that we're all fallible, flawed human beings, and that most things that most people believe live in that gray area between right and left. And I think that's the moment we're at now. That doesn't mean we'll be there forever. And I'm sure that pendulums swing from one extreme to the other, but it feels like we're in a pretty good place now with what you're allowed to talk about.
And this is all kind of basic stuff that they're, just getting into. They are going to get more into it, but, it's Chris Cuomo. So what do you expect?
You think that the Tom Brady roast was a watershed moment?
I think so.
It was where the canceling died, at least in one context?
I think people.
I definitely think that there was a lot there where, it was edgy for what we've been in, but saying groundbreaking, okay.
People enjoyed it. I had several friends on it that did a great job. Nikki Glaser, phenomenal. And I think people really just sat back and said, this is really fun. It's enjoyable. These are words. I also think if we look around the world now, we have wars in the Ukraine, wars in the Middle East, India and Pakistan exchanging missiles. They're both nuclear countries, right? Really, to be upset only by words now, you have to be a special kind of disconnected because you're looking at real life tragedy all over the globe. So if you're invested in a joke or you're getting angry about a specific set of words or beliefs you don't like, you're probably the most privileged group of human beings to have ever existed on the planet.
Yep. You don't you don't see farmers who have got to be working from dawn till dusk complaining about words.
Who do you think owns the extremism of canceling in our culture? Do you think it's the right or the left?
It's not a right or a left thing, as we're seeing with the rise of the woke right, that it is clearly an entire, I don't even know what you would call it, but it's not a left thing or a right thing. We did see a lot of it predominantly on the left over the last 10 years, 10, 15 years, but we're seeing it pop up, and looking back, it's easier to kind of see, oh, okay, that was some pretty woke shit back then too, from the right wing.
Extremism of canceling in our culture. Do you think it's the right or the left?
I think both the right and the left can utilize that weapon. And it's a weapon. I saw it in the 90s, and the right employed it often.
Mm-hmm.
But
and that's he's going to go through all of these things, and we'll see exactly that it fits the mold that we've been talking about. Shout out to Lockbar. Welcome to the party. Very good to see ya.
And it's a weapon. I saw it in the 90s, and the right employed it often. But Tipper Gore also employed it. With music that she didn't like.
So that was a form of cancel culture. We didn't call it that at the time, but looking back, we can see that's what it was. I don't like what you're saying, therefore you shouldn't be allowed to hear it. Yeah, like we're saying, look at the satanic panic era back in the 80s and 90s. That was mostly right-wing cancellation from evangelical hypocrites. And that is specifically why people, millennials specifically, when we were coming up, it was the default to be a liberal. It was a default to be on the left. That was the cool, the cool side, and the right was the old Republicans, and that was the perspective. That if you weren't paying attention to stuff, how you thought about things.
Found vulgar, Al Gore's wife. I saw it in the 2000s with the Iraq War, where the right was saying anyone that didn't fall in lockstep with their aims in the Middle East was a traitor or was anti-American. I saw it then. Then it emerged, around 2015 on the contemporary left as a tool in which to
break up Occupy Wall Street, because people were starting to realize, oh, it's not left and right. It's not the person who's voting for a different guy. It's the guys who don't even get voted for in the first place.
Marginalize people that they disagreed with or found to be objectionable in some way. I also think it was motivated, as many things are, by careerism. I think people saw it as a way to elevate themselves at the expense of other people. It was a way for a lot of mediocre people, be they writers, comedians, actors, whatever, directors, to get work by falling lockstep in line with that ideology and then reaping a lot of professional benefits because of it. So I think that's what it became. I think it was very cynical, and I think it was employed by people to advance themselves. And I think that was a huge feature. And then it didn't work because all these companies lost a lot of money. Viewership dropped in a lot of these areas where they were just doing a paint by number strategy of greenlighting things based on, how many people of color you have, how many gay people, how many trans people, how many women. And you
Not enough.
forgot that all of this at the end of the day is to entertain people and to earn money. And it didn't work. And then when it didn't work, Hollywood, which famously doesn't believe in much outside of success, was like, we tried this, it didn't work. Hollywood will go which way the wind is going. The wind started to blow the other way. And then immediately all those executives forgot they had ever championed any of this stuff because they got big mortgages, you know, and kids in private school, and they need to earn a living. And then they went the other way.
So when you see it going the other way, how come Louis C.K. hasn't been brought back into the bosom of Hollywood when he is arguably one of the most talented guys in this space?
So that's an interesting question, but from Chris Cuomo, and it makes sense to me why Chris Cuomo would ask that kind of question. But it seems pretty obvious that, as Tim Dillon was saying before, Louis C.K. is not a political comedian. He usually talks about, you know, just his family, and he became a political firestorm because of the things that he did. But his comedy was never really about politics. And so, and he was never really a Hollywood guy. I mean, yeah, he had a show on FX, and he's been, you know, he's done little roles here and there. But, you know, especially since he was one of the first, like, lower tier, you had the Harvey Weinsteins, and then you had the lower tier when they were going around with everyone. He was like the first one on that level. I think that his name still just carries a little bit of that baggage. But again, it shows that Chris Cuomo doesn't really understand this world. Despite having been in politics his whole life, he just doesn't get it.
Hasn't been brought back into the bosom of Hollywood when he is arguably one of the most talented guys in this space.
Well, he's touring around the world. He's doing arenas. His fans are there. He's one of the top comics in the world. I think
by his own hand.
By his own hand.
He did it all himself. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, he's
consider myself a friend.
Great.
But
right. So if he's doing it all by himself, what would he need to be brought into?
why haven't they brought him back?
Who's they? What are you talking about? Tim's saying that to be like, what do you mean? He's making it. He's fine.
I think right now they're in a weird place, and that has to do with many different aspects of that business. So right now it's a hard question. I think prior to now, the reasons were the ones we're talking about, right? They're scared, they're terrified,
No, good point. Even back then, it backfired. Cancel culture will always backfire. Wokeness will always backfire.
Prior to now, the reasons were the ones we're talking about, right? They're scared, they're terrified, they're they're afraid of these Twitter mobs or whatever. Now I think it's such a weird place. They really don't know what to do. I don't think it's political right now. I think really they're unsure about the future of the business, how it's going to be shaped by the internet, by AI, by all of these things. So right now it's a very difficult. I mean, the smartest people I know in that world are very uncertain about what comes next.
That seems to be the word of the day, uncertainty.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting. I've watched this shift. I want to know if you perceive it. And if so, do you perceive it the same way?
Shout out to Amanda Price. Welcome to the party. Very good to see ya.
It's interesting. I've watched this shift. I want to know if you perceive it. And if so, do you perceive it the same way? Watching your show, I've seen a natural evolution of where you just are hitting your marks faster and faster. You're just seeing the field better and better as happens.
I feel like he's about to go into a thing where he's going to treat Tim Dillon like a little brother and be like, I've seen you. Yeah, you're really getting good at this game. That's the vibe I'm getting. When it's like, bro, a lot more people want to listen to Tim Dillon than want to listen to you.
Hitting your marks.
Maybe not, but that's just
faster and faster. You're just seeing the field better and better, as happens with any experienced pro. But I have noticed, especially on this kind of new renegade disruptor vibe that is almost exclusively at this point on digital media, a lot of comedians have crossed over into a harsh critic and expert vibe. We just saw this culmination of that with Douglas Murray taking on Rogan and Dave Smith, who a lot of people in my audience won't know, but if you
have you been?
Google him, he's one of Rogan's foot soldiers. And I thought that was a really interesting moment of somebody who's an actual intellectual saying,
and I bet that Dave would not like being called a foot soldier. Like, yeah, he's been like, his career is big because he's friends with Joe Rogan, but like, especially in this context, he kind of stands on his own 2 feet and maybe a little bit more than Rogan himself.
And I thought that that was a really interesting moment of somebody who's an actual intellectual saying, you know, just because you guys agree and have decided that there's no more things as experts, and just because you're funny, sometimes you can say whatever you want and be an expert. It doesn't work like that. Do you see that kind of shift, and if or what do you see?
Well, I think Dave specifically has done a ton of research on that conflict. Like, I would never say that I have done a ton of research on that conflict. I have a layman's understanding of that conflict. I'm bothered by the civilian casualties. I think watching the footage that's coming out of that region is heartbreaking. I think it's a terrible thing that's happening. But yet I'm not someone who's done. I think Dave, to his credit, has looked into that particular conflict. He's a Jewish guy. He has been heavily critical of Israel. He knows a lot about the history of that conflict, more than me. There are things I know more about.
Right. And so Chris Cuomo here is trying to, so if you're not familiar, the other guy, not on the screen right now, Chris Cuomo, he was like the guy on CNN. Tim Dillon is a stand-up comedian in the Rogan sphere, but he does a political comedy podcast. And what was I just going to say? Oh, yeah. So Chris is acting like, well, we're in this new world where anybody who's funny gets to be the expert. What do you think about that? It's like, that's not at all what it is. Nobody is saying that just because you're funny, you become an expert. We're saying just because you haven't been deemed by some establishment, some institution to be an expert doesn't mean that you don't have good ideas. That is all we're saying. What you said, either of these people. There's only two people. Or are you talking about Dave Smith and Douglas Murray? In which case, I'm pretty sure you were here when we covered that. I don't know. Well, I don't know what you mean then. But yeah, you can see how Chris Cuomo just doesn't click after all this time.
Heavily critical of Israel. He knows a lot about the history of that conflict, more than me. There are things I know more about. I wouldn't say I'm an expert per se, but I would say that there are areas.
And neither would Dave, which is the whole thing. That was the argument with Douglas, that he wasn't saying I'm an expert. I'm just saying here are my ideas, and Douglas was saying, but you're not an expert. It's like, okay, well, what about my ideas? What about my positions?
Where I'm more comfortable weighing in because I've done more research than, you know, I know more about certain things than I do about other things.
Sure.
I think Douglas's point, I think, which to me, the issue that I had with his point was that only experts or only people that had been granted this designation by some body as an expert could weigh in on this question of Israel and the Middle East and Gaza.
Well, and it goes all the way back. I mean, not all, I say all the way, but it goes back to COVID as well, but just in general and everything. It's not just Israel. It's all of this stuff. And the notion that unless, you know, like there's some magic wand that the government has or that a university has or whatever, and they wave it, and the ideas that you have automatically, once they wave it, become important. But before that, if you don't get the magic wand, then your ideas don't matter.
And to me, unfortunately, in my lifetime, from the Iraq war to COVID, you know, a lot of the experts have failed. They failed when they told us there were weapons of mass destruction. They failed when they said that we should be passing the Patriot Act and that we should be subverting constitutional norms and locking people up in Guantanamo Bay. They failed when they said that it was going to be, 2 weeks to stop the spread, and that
2 weeks to slow the, remember 14 days?
There were no masks needed, and then you had to have a mask, and the churches are closed, but the liquor stores are open, and nobody could have a prom, but the movies had special permission to shoot if they had political connections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys remember? Oh my God, I forgot about this video. Let's see if we can find that. Okay, so COVID lady movie studio. Let's see if that will bring it up. There's this lady that had a restaurant, and she was forced to shut down, but literally in the same lot there was a movie production set up, and she had more I don't think it's gonna be here, but yeah, I don't see anything. But she was she was like, you know, she was showing the camera, and she would show her restaurant where they had all the outdoor things with all the precautions and everything. And then it was in California, obviously, and they got shut down. And she turns the camera to the other side of the lot where it's just a bunch of tables, and the movie studio is allowed to do whatever they want. That was the rules for thee, but not for me.
The movies had special permission to shoot if they had political connections. I understand Douglas's point. Like if I want surgery, I'm not going to go to my friend. I'm going to go to a surgeon. But the problem is a lot of the people that we deem as experts in society will get out and say biological gender and sex are unrelated. So to me, as a layman, non-expert, community college dropout, but a guy who's somewhat self-educated and knows people and, you know, looks at culture a lot.
What is a woman? Well, I'm not a biologist.
I think that the damage done to the realm of experts has been largely self-inflicted. And I think that's, so I think it's easy to point and go, this person doesn't have the requisite amount of knowledge to comment on something. But really, when we look at the field of experts and how people become experts and the realms of intellectuals, whether it's higher education or a think tank or a GSE government-sponsored entity, wherever the money's coming from, it's just hard for people in my generation, Gen X, who lived through the Iraq War and Afghanistan and everything. The experts said that was a great idea, and then 20 years later, the Taliban takes the country again. So I think it's. I understand what you're saying, but I think I'm more on the line of like, I'm just now looking at the way somebody presents an argument and seeing what rings true to me.
Yes, I get it. I think it's the rings true to me and people being seen as, I guess the word expert is now tarnished. But I got what Douglas was saying for several reasons. One, I have no problem with people having an opinion about anything. That's all podcasts are for the most.
I'm thinking on that no, the word expert has been tarnished, like kind of in some way, in the sense that if you are deemed an expert by the institution, then that is lowered because of other experts that have been deemed by the institutions that gave us the wrong answers. But at the same time, I think what the other side of that should be is that maybe expert isn't the only class that can have right answers. You know, I mean, it's just, yeah, like they get things wrong sometimes. The experts are not perfect. That's all we're saying. And the other side seems to be like, well, that doesn't matter because the experts are going to be more right than somebody who's not an expert. And for the most part, you could say that about the world and you would be right. But at least since the invention of the internet and social media stuff, when you can share ideas and look stuff up that other people have done and all that stuff, it's not necessarily the case that that the experts are necessarily better. It's that simple.
I have no problem with people having an opinion about anything.
Oh, well, thank you, Chris Cuomo, for allowing me, a humble little brown boy, to have an opinion about anything.
That's all podcasts are for the most part, is hot takes. And I get that. And there's space for everything. And it's an evolving space. And my big prediction is that Rogan's success is admirable. I do not believe he'll be where he was 3 months ago, a year from today. There are too many talented people entering that space now who want his real estate, and they're going to be better at what he does than he is. So I think that
but I got to be honest,
he's going to see attrition.
That's not the first time someone said that about Joe. He does surpass expectations. Like, people wrote his obituary many, many times, and it's just never come true.
Oh, listen, I don't necessarily want it to come true because I don't find him offensive or anything. I see him as innocuous, but he's getting criticism.
Sorry, I'm still trying to find that video.
Joe, he does surpass expectations. Like, people wrote his obituary many, many times, and it's just never come true.
Oh, listen, I don't necessarily want it to come true because I don't find him offensive or anything. I see him as innocuous.
And even again, like every word, every sentence this guy says, it's like, well, okay, but like, what do you mean innocuous? He's the most influential podcaster in the fucking world. He's not innocuous. Like, you might think he's not an issue, but he's not innocuous. Like Mark said, Chris Cuomo needs to backtrack. He's just said he's never had a problem with people's opinions. All right, Chris, sure, whatever you say. And I think what he would say is, well, you know, I personally never had a problem, but I was working for CNN and they're so bad that they made me do this, that, and whatever. That's what I would expect would be his cope, but absolutely right. And see what the experts are not used to. See what the experts are not used to is people having the ability to fact check them. Exactly. So I really needed his permission so I could start thinking for myself. Now we've got it. We've got it. King said not just that they are malicious, possibly evil. So sorry for trusting Dave Smith over the lackeys. I'm not. Sorry, not sorry.
Want it to come true because I don't find him offensive or anything. I see him as innocuous, but he's getting criticism. He never got criticism before.
Oh, Jesus. EB3 is starting up in Discord again.
The media is taking him.
Are you guys in, man, if you guys are not in Discord, you missed quite a show today. It is absolutely free to join, so check this out. If you guys are enjoying the show, the party rages on 24/7 over in our Discord. The link is pinned to the top of the chat and is absolutely free to join 24/7. We're in there hanging out, having a great time. And guys, it is absolutely free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below that video and hit that join button. Starts at $2.99. There's a few different tiers, but $2.99 will get you in. It gets you members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it opens up the full Discord server. So we've got the free chat that is open to anyone. Anybody can join and talk. But as you can see, that is just one of our channels. There's a bunch of different channels here, including our disciple chat for members only, our word of the day watch party, where we're talking about all this stuff. And of course, we have the voice channel here, where we are hanging out at this moment. Shout out to everybody in the Discord server. Say hello and tell them to come and join.
Hello, come and join.
There you go, guys. Simple as that. See you there. And of course, guys, like we said, it is for the after party is for members only. So even if you join the free chat where all the drama was happening today, that is the link at the top of the chat. If you join while we are on stream, I will give you a day pass to come to the after party, where again you are not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. He said he went full retard. You never go full retard. I don't think he knows any other way.
But he's getting criticism. He never got criticism before. The media is taking him seriously now, and that's not going to go well for him.
I just caught it on the other screen on the studio.
He's always been ignored. And then he did that deal after the media made him relevant for a minute as an anti-vaxxer, which wasn't really fair, but he put himself in that position.
The media or you? The media or you? Let's see what we got. Hell yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do a double side quest here. Double side quest. So going back to the idea of the experts, can we, how do I open this in a different, boom, 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 boom. All right. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Anyway, I think this is it.
So this is my.
Oh, sorry. Can't see.
My place, the Pine. So this is my place, the Pineapple Hill Grill and Saloon. If you go to my page, you can see all the work I did for outdoor dining, for tables being 7 feet apart. And I come in today because I'm organizing a protest, and I came in to get stuff for that. And I walk into my parking lot, and obviously Mayor Garcetti has approved.
I don't know, maybe this isn't it. Let's see.
This.
Oh, it is it, yeah.
Has approved this being set up for a movie company.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
I'm losing everything. Everything I own is being taken away from me. And they set up a movie company right next to my outdoor patio, which is right over here. And people wonder why I'm protesting and why I have had enough
No, we're not. No, we're not wondering at all.
They have not given us money and they have shut us down. We cannot survive. My staff cannot survive. Look at this. Tell me that this is dangerous, but right next to me as a slap in my face, that's safe. This is safe. 50 feet away.
Not safe.
This is dangerous. Mayor Garcetti and Gavin Newsom is responsible for every single person that doesn't have unemployment, that does not have a job, and all the businesses that are going under. And we need your help. We need somebody to do something about this.
And nothing was done. And nothing was done. And then we have side quest number 2, Chris Cuomo, Joe Rogan. I assume this is after it was already there, but
was worried about that. And certainly during the pandemic,
maybe this wasn't it. Hold on. We'll get it. We'll get it. We'll get it. We got it. Come on. Yeah.
Now, speaking of
Lemon, we're chuckling at each other about it.
All right. So remember, we're coming off of, let's do this.
Oh, and that's not going to go well for him. He's always been ignored. And then he did that deal after the media made him relevant for a minute as an anti-vaxxer, which wasn't really fair, but he put
The media, he says.
I don't want you to take ivermectin. Ivermectin is the way to go. Take it. Joe Rogan got better from ivermectin. And by the way, I don't like what people did to Joe Rogan about ivermectin. I don't like
You did it.
No.
Yes, you did.
Find the clips.
Notice how he tried to say no.
But, dude, find the clips. You shamed Joe Rogan.
Find the
you said
clips.
he's taking horse dewormer. You and Don Lemon were chuckling at each other about it.
No,
I'll go find
first
the
of all,
clip.
you just saw the clips.
I watched
I'm
it.
not chuckling. I'm listening to Don. But
No. The
here's
clip
point.
I'm talking about wasn't
Oh, so
on
it
there.
was
It's
you now.
absolutely
We
there.
were
Here, do we have it? Hold on. Let's play the clip.
Getting injecting drugs for animals and horse.
And people telling them to. Oh my God. What person? You know, you talk about cancel culture and who to shame.
I saw Don chuckle. I didn't see you chuckle.
Ivermectin, a dewormer, really?
They are shaming themselves.
That's
no
what
one
it
has
is.
to shame them. They're shaming themselves.
So you're taking a dewormer right now.
This
Chris, you can't apologize for that. You weren't being clear that it was this, and you know that, dude. You're being so dishonest right now, man.
I'm not.
Shout out again to Dave Smith. And of course, we did cover that entire thing on stream. Check it out.
Put himself.
So that's who we're talking to right now.
After the media made him relevant for a minute as an anti-vaxxer, which wasn't really fair, but he put himself in that position. And then he got his big deal. And then they had problems with the deal, and the media scrubbed him, found bullshit, racist things that he had said in the past. They made him apologize. That was the beginning. So that's what I see being done to him, whether or not it is deserved. But I'm happy for his success. I hope it continues. What I saw in Douglas Murray's thing that I think people should think about is there's a difference between saying, look, Tim, this is what I think about tulips, okay? Right. And, make of it what you want. I'm not a botanist. I'm not a horticulturist. There's a difference between that and me now becoming an organizing point on tulips. The issue for Murray is not that Dave Smith has an opinion on Gaza, but as a journalist, I would never say the kinds of things that Dave Smith says about Gaza, about Israel, about COVID, about vaccines, about any of it. Because as a journalist, I'm so aware of what I don't know. And he seems to be too comfortable ignoring his own ignorance.
Speaking of ignoring your own ignorance, absolutely, Dave Smith destroyed him. And I don't know how he thought that was going to go any other way. But I think that speaks even more to the mindset that Chris has. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, maybe I said a little something, but it's no big deal, right?
And because of that, it'd be one thing if he was just another guy. But when you are positioned by Rogan or by anybody as someone to listen to so that you may believe what he believes, now I get why Murray was bothered by it. Because if you ask me about Gaza, okay, it matters that Smith has never been to the region. Okay, if you're not on the ground there, you don't talk to people in the region, through no filter. No filter. And this is not what Tim Dillon says about what happened when he was in Gaza.
Most people in this country around 2004, 2005, we're starting to see the...
We'll save it for the after party. We'll save it for the after party. If you're in Discord, holy shit. Oh, man. We'll wait.
Most people in this country around 2004, 2005, we're starting to see the folly of the Iraq war. They were starting to see that the Bush doctrine of preemptive war to supposedly democratize the Middle East had failed, or was in a process of failing. Almost none of those people had visited Iraq or Afghanistan. I would say that 90...
He probably thinks he is. And so when we talk about the expert class, being the lead anchor on CNN comes with some weight. So he probably thinks that he is.
Almost none of those people had visited Iraq or Afghanistan. I would say that 99.9% of them had never visited that country. But the images coming out of that region and the news from a common sense perspective allowed most people to say that...
All right, so funny little thing happened earlier. I was somehow logged in on the wrong account, and I couldn't use my own chat studio because it would put my other account. And I forget where. I don't even remember where I was going with that. Anyway, something's going up in Discord. I'll let you guys decide if we want to stay here, if we want to dabble in that.
Sense perspective allowed most people to say that engaging in this type of foreign policy was an error.
I agree. And you don't have to be in a place to understand it, obviously.
Hey, shout out to DJ Isolated. Welcome to the party. I just saw what Michael dropped in the free chat. I was trying to see if you guys are here for this or you want to see some drama. We could do some drama. Let's let it ride.
Was an error.
I agree. And you don't have to be in a place to understand it, obviously.
Right.
However, from a journalist's perspective, the idea that you understand the fabric of a conflict and you haven't been around it, I get why that would be upsetting because that is a standard for us.
For us. I told you. I told you.
What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Because I told you. A long time ago. And what did I say will happen? Exactly what just happened.
Yep, we indeed have our very own locale. So let's get 2 more votes, and we'll see if we want to check that out.
And you haven't been around it, I get why that would be upsetting because that is a standard for us. Now, the war, I lived, right? And I signed up as an early embed, and I lost a lot of guys on 9/11, and it had a big impact on me, and I was here for it, and I watched it in real time. We knew there were no weapons of mass destruction.
Oh, so if I turn on any time in that whole conflict while you're on CNN, you won't be talking, either you will be talking about how there's no weapons of mass destruction, or you won't be saying that, well, there must be weapons of mass destruction. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to politics at that time. So I definitely don't know. That's a genuine question. But I'm going to speculate that he was with the fucking establishments.
I watched it in real time. We knew there were no weapons of mass destruction much earlier, and the Bush administration shut us down, said that we were threatening operational security of troops on the ground in the Middle East. The American people agreed and stopped watching the news. I remember the reporting changing. Not that we started to change our take, but we said it less. Because Bush had succeeded in swaying the American people to agree to disagree about weapons of mass destruction, but we're in it now, so let's just go kill the bad guys. And I remember it. And I remember Congress, that being the last time they took a vote on a conflict. After that point, they gave their power to the
president. Yeah. I think part of the media's
And then we got Obama.
credibility problem, and why I think the media going after Rogan as much as they do doesn't have the desired effect on their end, is that they have lost the trust of a vast majority of Americans. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get it back.
But who has the trust? Who has trust? I guarantee you, if you asked all of America, I don't know how many know Joe Rogan, but if you were to ask,
a good amount.
But I'm saying I don't know, because you got to remember, these numbers, I don't believe them. I don't believe my own numbers.
Right.
So, let's say Rogan, has made a name for himself. He's been popularized within the media. I mean, I've always known him because I'm a UFC fan, but I don't think he's going to have a high indicia of trust with people outside the bro culture.
Here's
so
what
it's about your space.
I would disagree with you in that sense.
You know who was most recently on Joe Rogan? A vaccine expert, an actual doctor, and then talking to a mentalist. This is not some quasi-political thing. And I mean, okay, it's gotten a little bit more that way since they did that to him on CNN, but that's how you radicalize people. That's how you radicalize people. It's your fault, Chris. Specifically and directly, you and Don Lemon, it's y'all's fault that Rogan became this guy. And I mean, I'm here for it, but it does get a little bit old because he's not a politics guy. So he just repeats, talking points and stuff. And I agree with a lot of them, but like, that's not what I want from a Joe Rogan. Yep, absolutely. If not spearheaded it. All right, we got 5 goats. All right, so I see that the video is actually the same video that you dropped, so we don't even necessarily have to do too much. So what we will do is, you guys are familiar with the Raging Tomato, right? A panel show. Usually there's a debate, and then they open it up, and anybody can come through. So we have the EB3 in our Discord server, who thinks that he is brilliant, and DJ Isolated dropped this video in the Discord earlier today, and the argument rages on. I would speed it up, but we won't.
All right, so what do you want to know?
How'd you do, Andrew? Man, pleased to meet you finally.
Yeah. So get to whatever it is you want to get to.
Right. Okay.
Andrew's already like, bro. Wait.
You finally.
All right, so what do you want to know?
How'd you do, Andrew? Man, pleased to meet you finally.
Pleased to meet you finally. He's been saying they were good friends. They have all this history. Okay, all right. Well, lies, and lies.
Yeah. So
I believe this was a discussion about it was supposed to be about like P-Hub content and stuff, but it's its own thing.
Get to whatever it is you want to get to.
Right, okay, I've heard you say for years, ain't it? Like, and you're bored of it as well. The concept of rights being and what you consider to be entitlements without duty.
Yeah.
And as obviously a Christian, you're a follower of the Christ. You obviously, and I've heard you as well on other shows, like slapping hoes and sinners about with the concept of God-given free will. Or universal free will under the same logic.
I gotta speed him up a little bit because like we're dragging, but his accent makes it a little bit difficult. No shade, but
branch, right? Yeah,
sure.
Right, yeah. So there's a clear distinction between freedoms. One, the freedom to blink, fart, scratch your ass, walk your dog. This.
Can you? I just want to ask for one just quick favor. If you can maybe crank your audio up a little bit. You're very quiet.
My apologies. I'll get closer to my mic. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better, but maybe speak up even more.
I'll do it on my end. I think I cranked him down earlier because he was coming in a little too loud. EB3, can you test your mic again for me, please?
Testing 1 2 1 2.
Much better. Go ahead.
Okay.
I don't have autism. Fuck you.
Right. So you're obviously aware of, and you've used them yourself, the clear distinction between freedoms and rights. But in your logical precept of rights being, as far as you're concerned, entitlements without duty, it's flawed because freedoms are relinquished for rights. For instance, I'm paraphrasing you, but you say like,
wait, hang on. Can you qualify something for me real quick? Just
shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome to the party. Morty knows that you are here. Thank you. Said slapping hoes and feed the overlord. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much. Getting us started on that swole goal to get me swole. $2. Thank you so very, very much. That's 1 out of 15, or if we hit a $50 total, that goal is met. Thank you, thank you, thank you, sir. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream.
Say like,
wait, hang on. Can you qualify something for me real quick, just so that we don't semantically speak past each other? When you say that freedoms are limited for rights, what does that mean?
I said relinquished.
Yeah, what does that mean? How are they relinquished for rights?
Surrendered.
How? Wait, okay, which freedom is relinquished for rights?
Well, let me finish speaking, man.
No, you need to qualify. You need
I'm going to qualify it now.
It's important for me. Listen, hang on. I'm not trying.
I'll give you some context in a second.
Trying to blow past you. I just want to make sure we don't equivocate.
Can I finish saying what I want to say?
Just listen for 5 seconds, and then you can speak. I promise.
I'll say EB3. He's running a line of logic with you, so we're going to go step by step.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we don't equivocate.
So this guy, EB3, is in the Discord saying that he is elevated amongst all of us, and that he has Andrew pinned down, and that Andrew's been saying something. And I still don't understand what it was. I watched this video, and then I was like, okay, I didn't really understand what you were trying to say. Can you tell me what it was? And then he linked me back to this video, and I was like, bro, I saw in the video. I'm just asking you. Can you like paraphrase, like, what is it? And he's like, well, give me permission so I could be in the voice channel, or you don't really care enough. I was like, yeah, then you're right. I don't really care enough.
I just want to make sure we don't speak past each other, and that I understand exactly what it is that you're saying and why it is you're saying it. Can you tell me what this means when you say, when you have a right, you necessarily are giving up what?
A freedom.
Okay, can you tell me how that works?
And I'm going to provide an example. If you'd let me finish, I would have answered your question, but you had to.
Dude, calm down. I just want to make sure that we don't speak past each other.
Yeah,
that's it.
so this
being very
is,
good faith here. Can you be good faith back?
Right. Paraphrase means stop me when I'm in error. Right. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing.
I'm not paraphrasing. I'm asking for the semantics.
That was an accident, an error. I'm paraphrasing you. Stop me when I'm in error. You say often in your debates with people, right? Yeah. That, as an example, do you have a right to own a gun? And they answer, obviously, yes, under the American Constitution, you do, correct?
Sure.
Right. And then you say, do you have a duty to own one? Am I right so far?
Do you have a duty to own a gun?
Yeah,
that would be no.
Follow up with that after when they answer. You normally follow up with that. Am I correct thus far?
Sure.
Okay.
So he's saying Andrew will talk about rights and duties and say that do you have a right to own a gun? And the answer to that is yes. And then EB3 is saying to Andrew, correct, that you will follow up that question with do you have an obligation or a duty to have a gun? That's where we're at.
That after when they answer, you normally follow up with that. Am I correct thus far?
Sure.
Okay, now I'm getting you to like follow the trail of logic, but that's the wrong question. Do you, under God, the universe?
So if you want to do this, so if I'm using an analogy or something all the time, and you think that it's a bad analogy, you don't have to do out this. How long we? 3, almost 4 minutes. Just be like, you know how sometimes you say this? That's wrong. You should say this instead. And I may agree or disagree, but just do that.
Logic, but that's the wrong question. Do you, under God, the universe, have the freedom, regardless of what country you're in, where you are on the earth, right? Yeah, to own any gun you want, regardless of consequence, i.e., laws of mankind? You don't.
I don't really understand much. I just, I got a little bit, but I'm in the same boat.
Have the freedom to own a gun, regardless of consequence?
No.
How so?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. This is why I was asking for the qualifier. You said regardless of consequence?
That's exactly what I said.
So you can do anything you want regardless of consequence.
Right.
I mean, you can do anything you want if you're not taking into account the consequence. You can do whatever you want. Meaning, you can go murder somebody. Like, there's going to be consequences to that, but you can go do whatever you want.
So that's a freedom that you are giving up, right? Yeah, in order to own a gun, right? Yeah, legitimately, to exercise a right to own a gun legitimately. You're giving up freedoms because you can obviously own any gun you want under God, regardless of consequence, regardless of the laws of man and what happens to you. You can, and people do criminal. The laws of mankind, you obviously know, don't prohibit, don't stop.
Okay, hang on.
What? Hey, shout out to Funk Master General. Said splash, splash. I was taking a bath about a Saturday night. Rubbed up, just relaxing it. I don't know where this is from, but welcome. And of course, thank you. Said, fuck you unwanted foe. I am the captain now. We have a new sponsor of the stream. Guys, that's 2 out of 15 and 12 out of 50. We are getting there. Thank you so very, very much, sir. I don't know if you were here when I started talking about this, but this is what all the drama in Discord was about. We're taking a hefty side quest for this. And as Amanda said, we might go on the side quest and never come back, but we will.
You know, and you can obviously own any gun you want under God, regardless of consequence, regardless of the laws of man and what happens to you. You can.
I've heard this. I know it, but I don't. It's there in the back somewhere. But you know, I did my best. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mess up your comment. I know. It would have been so great. I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah. So so we're at the place of if you don't think about the consequences, you can do whatever you want.
And people do criminal. The laws of mankind, you obviously know, don't prohibit. Don't start.
Okay. Hang on.
Long about it. How does the last?
Hang on. I've heard you out now. So you have a right to a woman then.
This is the EB3 who is currently still spazzing out in free chat. Yeah, this guy, and of course we have Andrew Wilson.
Hang on. I've heard you out now. So you have a right to a woman then.
RPay. You have a right to RPay a woman.
Hang on. I've heard you out now. So you have a right to a woman then. Regardless of consequence. Hang on. Regardless of consequence, if you have a regardless of consequence, you do have a right to a woman, right?
Right.
Okay.
Can
you answer my question, please?
No.
No, why don't you?
All right, because you're misconstruing rights.
Can you answer my question?
You're using rights and freedoms, right?
Do you have a right to a woman?
The support pillar. Oh my goodness! Shout out to Quamtech, who hates that shot as much as I do. Yeah. He only has access to the free chat. That's perk of being a member.
In rights and freedoms, right?
Do you have a right to a woman based on the if there's no consequence? Do you have a right to do that?
No.
Why not?
But you just established that you have a right to do anything, not barring consequences.
Right, yeah, because you're misconstruing rights.
Can you answer my question? Why not?
Look, it's not.
So the answer that he is looking for is you do not have that right because. No, it doesn't have to be worded exactly that way, but that's the question. So the answer would be a reason as to why you are not allowed to just RPay a woman.
Answer my question. Why not?
Look, it's not written in law anyway. You have that right.
What do you mean it's not written in law? So if it was written in law, you did have a right to a woman?
Well, right. Yeah, rights are short. No, listen, rights are short for legal rights. If you have a right to something, it's legally written down in law somewhere where you can go and look it up. Whereas what's lawful, which is ultimately what your freedoms are, that vast, they're too vast to be calculated. You don't need.
Then you're making my argument for me.
So he's just saying that rights and freedoms are not the same thing. That the rights are bestowed by the government, I guess, because they write it down, and freedom just means a thing that you can do. I think that's his position. I don't know what that has to do with Andrew's position, but I think that's where we're at with his brain.
Not at all.
Yeah, right, sure you are. So what you're doing is you're saying that rights.
No. Let me.
I've just let you talk a bunch. I've just let you talk a bunch. Let me get my words in, then you can get your words in, I promise. Very simple. You're actually making my argument for me that rights are social construction. You affirm that they're social construction because you then.
Oh, that's why he asked me about getting muted. That's why he was talking about like, are you man enough to have a real debate where you're not going to mute somebody just because they're talking over you? I was like, well, I mean, no. If you're talking over me, then I'm going to mute you. How about like just don't talk over me? That doesn't mean I'm gonna mute you every second. I mean, you guys in the afterparty, you guys, we get heated as fuck, screaming at each other sometimes, and never have I muted anybody. Well, I mean, maybe not never, but definitely don't make a habit out of it.
For me, that rights are social construction. You affirm that they're social construction because you then say, what about absent the consequent? Can you do anything absent a consequent? Sure. So I can say you have a right to a woman then if there's no consequences. Your answer to this is nothing. You have no answer to this, you adult, because that's where your line of reasoning goes. Go ahead. I want to hear anything. Go, give me.
I would, Funk, but the way that he demanded it in, ironically, the similar way that, or maybe it was a different one. I don't want to say the same. So the same way that there was somebody else who was like, oh, let's go through in the voice channel and debate this. And then we went in the debate, the voice channel and debated it. And then I took back his permissions away because he doesn't pay to be a member. And he got mad at me because I didn't let him keep the permissions. Like, what do you mean? You wanted to go in the room and debate, and now we did the debate, so we go back to normal. You don't get to just keep getting free stuff. Sign up as a member, or if you want, stay in the free chat and keep engaging, and you'll get your level up, and you'll become a disciple.
Adult, because that's where your line of reasoning goes. Go ahead. I want to hear anything. Go, give me anything.
You're misconstruing my argument. You're straw manning. You're defeating a house of cards I haven't said. Right?
All right. So that's round one. So now we're going to try again.
You are using rights and freedoms synonymously. When I said listen, women get crimes happen. Yeah. They are exercising their freedoms under God, regardless of consequence. That's why they get held accountable for it, because they don't have a right to.
Well, but do you understand when you say regardless of consequence? Why don't you have a right to?
Because they are not. I agree.
Get a right to rape a woman.
Agree with you that rights are social constructs. I have never.
Then why don't you have a right to?
Because it's not written down in law.
Okay, so all that is required to is that it's written in law. You can.
No, I'm saying that if you have.
That was your justification. You said you can't do it because it's not written down. So the logical conclusion of that is if it is written down, then you can do it. No.
Is required to is that it's written in law. You can.
No, I'm saying that if you have a legal right to something, it is written down in law.
Okay, but can you answer my question? Is it immoral to...
Just talking about whatever you want to talk about. The other person is just there as a means for me to say what I want to say. I'm not talking to another person. That's just another person on the screen. I just have things that I want to say. That's what's going on, EB3. Have a feeling that he's watching as well, but...
To something, it is written down in law.
Okay, but can you answer my question? Is it immoral to...
Well, it's immoral to harm anyone. Yeah.
Okay, why?
Because I'm a Christian, I follow Christ, man.
Okay, so you have an epistemic foundation based on the teachings of Christianity, right?
Yes, I'm saying you have a
okay. So then when you're talking about rights, and you agree with me that they're just social constructions, you could feasibly then under the social construction have a right to, right?
Well, I suppose if you were
then what are we arguing about?
If you lived in that type of
then what are we arguing about?
No, I'm arguing because you've never heard this argument before. You're using rights and freedoms synonymous.
I've heard this argument a million times. Your entire position literally reduces to relativism.
You use rights and freedoms synonymously. You say rights are a entitlement absent of duty.
Yes,
that's not true.
Okay, then what is a right?
It's false. A right is a
thing that's written down.
That is a
absent of duty. Thank you.
No, there is an obligation.
What's the obligation?
The duty is let me finish speaking. Right, your questioning is: do you have a right to own a gun? Yes.
Do you have a duty to own a gun?
Yeah, you can't. You have to interrupt me.
Well, no. Listen, hang on. I need to make sure that we get this semantically correct. When you say, and you are correct when I say a right is an entitlement absent duty. What I'm asking you is any of the rights you cite to me that are rights to give me the equivalent of the absence of duty.
Hear no intelligence, see no intelligence, and he definitely can't speak. No intelligence.
So if you say you have a right to... Stop, bro. Stop. So if you say you have a right to own a gun,
Spurgeon.
I want to know if you have a duty to own a gun. If you have a right to freedom of speech, I want to know if you have a duty. Hang on. I want to know if you have a duty to engage in freedom of speech. If not, then it seems like you're adopting my worldview, not me yours. But anyway, go ahead.
No. If you exercise your right to own a gun, you have a duty not to own any gun you want, regardless of consequence.
Why?
Because you become a criminal and you will lose your right to own a gun.
Well, that's a consequence. So that makes no sense.
No, you're misconstruing rights and freedoms.
I'm not misconstruing anything.
Aspects of life. Right, criminals. Let me stop speaking. Stop spurging like destiny. Right,
nobody's spurging except you, bro.
Like destiny. Let me finish speaking now.
Objection. And the beautiful thing is that he himself posted a video of him on a different panel talking about this, so that I don't have to share all the stuff in the Discord. It's exactly the same. Because everybody can see what is going on except for him. So, we don't even have to go through all of this, but there's a piece that is funny as hell that I want you guys to see. And then we'll go over to him trying to explain to other people what happened. And we're all going to agree with all of his friends or panel mate people. It's going to be hilarious.
Right,
nobody's spurring except you, bro.
Like destiny. Let me finish speaking now. Criminals exercise their freedoms.
Exactly. DJ says argument can be made so much more concise than this. Rights have duties baked in. That's it. You can agree or disagree, but that is the position. And that's all that you're trying. That's all that he's trying to say. And so I was trying to get this out of him because I didn't fully understand that that's what he was saying when I first watched it. And so that's how this whole thing started. You shared this video, and then I watched it. And you guys know that I have, as much as I agree with a lot of the things that Andrew said, you know, I would be very happy to see someone in my own Discord, you know, beat Andrew Wilson in a debate on anything. And as Michael Blackman pointed out, I would love to do that, yet that was not done. And he then, when I asked him about it, he just goes down on this rant about how if I watch these 400 videos, literally, he said, if I watch his 400 videos, then I'll get it. I'm like, bro, if that's what it takes, then you don't have a good point.
Under God every day, right? Yeah, regardless of consequence, right? Yeah, whether they are acting sinfully or otherwise, they own any gun they want, Uzis and everything, do drive-bys, regardless of consequence.
Yes.
Right? They don't care if the police come after them or whatnot.
Totally
They're
agree.
exercising their freedom. Stop spurging like.
I just said I totally agree.
Something. I'm showing you.
Well, how long do you get to filibuster before I can respond?
Like
can you lift? Hang on. Can you lift your right hand when you're done talking?
Andrew, stop spurging like.
Well, how much time do you think we have?
It's so cringe because like that's Andrew's word. All he did is say, you take as much as you need and raise your hand when you're done. Oh, you're spurging. You're spurging. Like, no, not quite. But shout out to fuck Master General again. Thank you. So very, very much, sir. 5 gifted memberships. Of course, guys, if you just got a membership, make sure you join the Discord. If anybody who joins while we're live will get the day pass for the after party. But if you were just gifted a membership, you've got at least the whole month. That's 12 after parties. Thank you, sir. So very, very much. I'm gonna do some math of what I think, and then you DM me if that's not right. All right, Punk? Let me know.
Right hand when you're done talking.
Andrew, stop spurging like.
Well, how much time do you think we have, bro?
Right, I'm trying to relay a distinction.
I'm listening to your point. I just told you I agreed with your point.
You're making a fundamental error in logic, and you've been doing it for years.
Where's the fundamental error in logic? That's what I'm looking for.
Obligation, rights come with obligations, and duties are relinquished whether you are consciously aware of them or not. Right? Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No. Prove it.
Absolutely.
Give me the demonstration.
Your freedoms under this earth, right? Yeah, are the principal foundation of where rights come from, right? Yeah.
Shout out to Steven. Welcome to the party.
And you
a little side quest here. This guy spurging out to Andrew Wilson is in the Discord and could not articulate his one sentence point and decided to spend 4 hours arguing about how he won this exchange. Yeah, right. You only need 300 Spartan warriors to win a battle, but you need 400 videos to understand him. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Back up. Listen. I don't actually understand
the concept of government.
Bro, I don't understand what you're saying. You have to. Can you?
That's what I told them. I'm like, I'm not trying to be me. Maybe what you have to say is brilliant, but I don't know what it is that you're trying to say. One of us said he's making some conflation in logic that he's seemingly incapable to explain to anyone except himself. Yep.
You calm down so that I'm just trying to understand your view.
Pardon me. EB3, I don't need to control Andrew. He does just fine on his own.
There you go. Stand on business. That's the second time I missed him actually say that.
I don't need to. Pardon me. EB3,
control your guest. Like, who the fuck is you? Who the fuck is you?
I don't need to control Andrew. He does just fine on his own. But EB3, I think where he's going is kind of the same issue we were having with you earlier, where you're kind of going off on all these long tangents of nothingness and not actually getting to the point. So if you could land your plane, Barry, he hasn't really.
Why are you
interrupted
spurging, bro? Calm down.
EB3,
it's like, bro, we know that that's Andrew's thing. We know that you're just saying that because it's Andrew. That's it. Amanda said, like I said last time around, I have a hard time articulating myself. This is why I would quit debate. Some people would doubt debate. Some people need to know when to quit. Absolutely. And I was willing to go down the line of accepting that, maybe Andrew's wrong about some things. I certainly think that Andrew's wrong about a bunch of things. And the fact of the matter is that he wasn't willing to engage with me because he thought it was entitled to understanding. And you are not entitled to understanding. Just because you have an idea in your head doesn't mean that it should automatically fit into my head. You can do that with your words, but unless we have Neuralink, then you can't expect that. And it's your responsibility to articulate that. You can have the best idea in the world. You can have the cure to cancer in 3 easy steps. But if you say step 1, Samubadab, and step 2, Sabigagag, and step 3, Flamubadab, ain't no cancer getting fucking fixed. Shout out to Funkmaster General again with another $10. That here's one sentence that cannot be denied. Morty rules you all. You goddamn right. I mean, Morty. Damn. All right. Hell yes. Hell yes. So yeah, this is Raging Tomato. She hosts these panels. As you'll see, it's not just them two. Someone paid to get just the two of them on screen, and then someone's gonna pay to get him off. But she runs a pretty cool situation over there. Like I said, it'll be a debate, usually a one-on-one debate where she'll moderate for about an hour and a half, and then she opens up the panel and she will let anybody on. And so like if I'm backstage and I tell you guys, she also allows everyone to stream it wherever. And so I could get on the panel. Or let's say she drops the link and I'm backstage. Then one of you guys sends her a super chat that says, bring up the Indian Jesus. That can then help me skip the line. And then if somebody else doesn't like what I'm saying, they could say, get rid of this fucking Indian guy. And so it's a cool thing. She does it much later at night, where it's like either I've just done a show or I'm just coming home from work, so I don't get on as much as I would love to. But definitely shout out to the Raging Tomato. Definitely go subscribe. And the Gauntlet. Shout out to Sarah. But yeah, I mean, like Amanda was saying, it's difficult. Having a good idea and articulating a good idea well are not the same thing. They're not the same thing at all. And I said, I do agree with quite a few things Andrew says, but there are things that I do strongly disagree with. Great. I think so, as far as I know. She's from her. Amanda said, but on some people nowadays, you don't have to agree with everything. Everything someone says, or to agree with, just to agree with some things. Yeah, that's the way it should be. If you're following anybody like completely 100%, you're probably fucking up. If you think that if you like every single thing that I've ever said, you're probably stupid. Unless you're a genius.
He hasn't really
Why are you
interrupted
spurting,
you.
bro? Calm down.
EB3, you've got 30 seconds to land that plane, and then we'll be bringing everybody up here shortly after Andrew returns his whatever you want to.
Andrew is making a fundamental error in logic, right? Yeah, and he's been doing it for years. Rights come with obligations, and duties are relinquished, whether people are consciously aware of them or not. Criminals exercise their freedoms under God, and before rights and governments existed, right? Yeah, people were exercising their freedoms and doing whatever they want and pillaging all the time under God, right? Yeah, and rights try to interject the teachings of Christ. The English language does anyway. The English language and Christendom is incorporated with one another. So rights are.
Put a 1 in the chat if you are lost.
A derivative of freedoms. Freedoms are the principal, most powerful part of anything, right? Yeah. Rights are secondary. They are a social construct and all that. But the freedoms of man, what you can do regardless of consequence, are relinquished in order to exercise your rights legitimately, and that is a duty that is bestowed upon anyone that claims rights. Andrew is fundamentally wrong in his approach to tackling what rights are.
Actually, I'm happy. I'm happy to engage with this. If you can you just answer a couple of questions without going on kind of like elongated nonsense?
He can't, bro.
I'm actually happy to engage with you. Are you willing to do that with me?
Perhaps, Andrew, but sometimes, like the
Perhaps, Andrew, but sometimes you do this thing and then that thing, and let me go on a long tangent, right as you ask me not to go on a long tangent.
So I might answer questions with questions to see if you can.
No, you don't.
You never answer a question with a question. This is the guy who said he's a master debater and that we are all, I don't know if he said master debater, you know, that's the fucking Austin Powers joke, but that he's a top level debater, and that his beliefs, or we're beneath his beliefs.
Answer a question with a question. You answer the question. Now, let me ask you a question. Under this model that you have, where you're talking about rights themselves being social constructions, it is feasible that somebody could have a right to a child?
Again, or pay a child?
According to your logic, right? Yeah.
No. He said according to your logic.
According to your logic, right? Yeah.
No. Answer my question, bro. From your view.
Right. Yeah, but according to you.
Right,
I said shit. Me too. Me too. That's why the first thing I did was, hey, sorry, maybe it was because, with your accent, it's a little bit hard when you guys are talking over each other. I didn't really get your whole point. Would you mind just boiling down what your bottom line was that you were trying to get to him? And that's all I said.
To your view.
Yes. But according to you, it's already happening in your worldview.
So according to your view, people can have the right to a child, right?
According to your worldview, it's already.
No, I'm asking about your worldview, not mine. Can you answer my question from your worldview? Can a person have a right to rape a child?
If you consider the age of consent,
please answer my question. Please answer my question. Please answer my question. From your worldview, if rights are a social construction, could a person have a right to a child?
Andrew,
answer my question.
No, but he says only formal debates count because people talk over each other in these.
Q&A sessions are no less anonymous.
You're not answering my question.
I will try to answer a question with a question, and you can handle it.
He's just spurging. He can't answer any questions. So
yeah, nice one,
So all these people were back there, or were up here, and then someone super chatted to get the two of them for a one-on-one.
Gentlemen, let me reset because I do think it's kind of becoming a pointless circle that's not being answered. So let me just give some shout outs. Orca Speaks with the Big Five says I am a Crucible crew as much as I am Tomato crew.
Can I point out, before you answer that last super chat, can I point out he asked me a variety of questions, which I answered yes or no to. Yes, no, yes, no. And notice when I asked him any questions, he said, I can only answer your questions with questions. And the thing is that is the opposite of the Socratic method, and it is also the opposite of how you actually debate and engage in good faith. When you asked me questions, sir, I answered yes, no, yes, that's true. No, that's not true. And was willing to give you what my view was if you asked additional questions. You did not do that for me.
Exactly. And there is, there's difficulty in being able to articulate your thoughts, but there should not be difficulty in listening to the other person and understanding that when a question comes your way, then it's your turn to answer a question and not ask your own question.
You, sir, are scum and lesser than I am as a debater. You're lesser than I am as a debater because I can do what you can't do. Answer questions.
Can I defend myself?
No, you can't defend yourself. Shut up.
Right, listen, Sarah.
No, be quiet. You had like 10 minutes to defend
all right. If you're scared of me, don't let me respond to that.
No. And there we go. You're scared.
Nobody's afraid of you.
Like, bro, you just had 10 minutes. What if he was scared? He would have ran away.
You know what?
You just had a 1v1 and all you did was run, bro.
Wrongful rage already paid to put you backstage.
Wrongful rage. Andrew's done playing with his British food. Drop EB3. So, I mean, not a good look. Not a good look. But I don't even know where the hell this is. But he went on a different panel. And now this is EB himself. He put out this video. Why? I have no fucking clue. But he put this out. So we skipped ahead a little bit. They were talking about it and whatever. Okay. So he thinks he's making a panel of Andrew Wilson's loyal LGBT Stan Spurg and Crash Out. What does that mean? Let's just jump in where they're talking about.
Why he's running?
He's running. That's what we're getting at. Where he's running. Andrew Wilson is running for me. Now EB is right down behind the chat here.
Sorry.
So I can't have 30 seconds to explain to you why he's running. You don't want to hear it.
No, dude, you already went through it. Dude, EB, you went through it.
If you're scared of me, that's cool.
Oh yeah, I'm real terrified, man.
So this is so actually, you know what? Let's do this. So I'm not going to show anything from the Discord. Everything that is in Discord stays in Discord. If it doesn't, you can get permaban. So feel safe there. So I watched that video, and so I just tagged him, and I said, what was the main point you were trying to get across to him? I'll admit, your accent makes it a little bit difficult to understand when y'all were talking over each other. And he said, give me some perks to share my response. I think he meant the permissions that so many of you pay for, or that Funkmaster General was nice enough to gift. Oh, let me change this. Sorry about that, my good sir. Thank you so very, very much. Again, big shout out to the sponsor. And again, let me know. I was trying to do the thing with the gifted memberships. Let me know if they're, whatever. And so then he links 3 videos that are just what we just watched. I'm like, bro, I watched yeah. And then he's like, give me some perks to share my response. And he shares the links. You don't, when you're just a normal member, you don't get a link preview. So you can share a link, but it's not going to show the preview, but the link still works. He's like, or don't, whatever. And I was like, the links still work. You just don't have a preview. And so I clicked the link. I was like, bro, I watched the video. I'm asking what you were trying to say because I didn't understand from the video. The full conversation that DJ Isolated posted. So show me clips of that same conversation doesn't make anything clear. I'm just asking, what was your bottom line? And he said, you wasn't shown the entire conversation though. And they're not links from all the same video. Don't ask if you don't want to know. I'm like, just talk to me, brother. We're here. It's not like there's a bunch of stuff going on. It's you and it's me. I'm talking to you right now. Just tell me as a human being, what are you talking about? And I was like, yeah, just talk to me, brother. I was like, I'm just trying to have a conversation. She's like, I don't need your sub, like, or view. I refuse to be monetized. I was like, all right, never mind then. I'm sorry I asked. And then it devolved in this whole thing. He's like, I asked politely for the permissions to show my side of the argument. I'm not responsible for your ignorance. Take the perms away again after the convo. I just opened up this whatever, same kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, other people pay for that. So I'm not just going to give it to you for free because you want to say things. And I'm like, why do you even need that? Like, just say, I was like, I said the bottom line. That's 1 or 2 sentences, but sure, be mad at fighting ghosts. And this just went on and on and on, right about like this.
So wait, dude, EB, you went through
scared.
it.
If you're scared of me, that's cool.
Oh yeah, I'm real terrified, mate. I'm terrified. I'm shaking.
That's not
right
big
now.
on it, man.
Watch out, you glow. We were getting on fine until this happened. Why can't you allow me 30 seconds? What's the matter?
Why is it as soon as that I call out you on some bullshit that you want to say that you want to get all emotional about?
How is it bullshit when you won't allow me to defend myself?
Dude, you're not a victim. Like seriously.
I'm not claiming to be one.
Aren't you though? I wasn't allowed to talk.
You're the one that's scared of me. 30 seconds to explain how he's scared of me.
I'm just as scared of you as what Andrew is.
Right then. So let me explain 30 seconds. Right, yeah? Let me look at my timer. Me and Andrew Wilson both adhere to the philosophy of logic. Right, yeah? And on his channel, he's got people, at least 2 videos I can put you to now, right, yeah, with thumbnails saying, scared, ran away from a debate when he...
Put a 1 in the chat if you like the frog troll thingy, or 2 if you think it's annoying.
He's called him out, right?
That's him, not me. I'm just curious.
So in accordance with the philosophy of logic, when I called him out and he runs from it, he has to adhere to the same principle, whether you like it or not. So yes, in accordance with logic.
What is happening with this guy? Like, what is this panel?
He has said that he's scared with me in accordance with his own thumbnail.
Oh, he's making fun of him.
On his own videos, on his own channel.
You're making me scared.
Run from him in the same. See how he doesn't like what.
Oh, that's why this is here, to cover up homeboy Cecil, who was making fun of him. 2, 2, 2, and 2. Nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about, and everybody thinks his video is annoying.
On his own videos, on his own channel.
You're making me scared.
Run from him in the same. See how he doesn't like what he's hearing, so he has to shout over me. Has he formally said, I'm scared of you, EB3? Of course not. But in accordance with the philosophy of logic, me and Andrew both profess to adhere to, he has. And if you take the time to look, you will see it for yourself. I've posted you a link in your private chat now with an engagement between me, him, and Rattlesnake TV, where they deny a teaching of the Christ exists when it does. Look for yourself. That's another reason why they're running from me, because I bent them over the barrel. I didn't even mean for the gotcha. They just didn't honestly know. I didn't even mean.
I wasn't even trying. I'm just so good that I just slipped into destroying the blood sport debater.
I wasn't even trying to gotcha. It was a rhetorical question.
Didn't he debate you on Sarah's channel?
Thanks for the 30 seconds. I don't mean to be impolite or rude or disrespectful.
I believe that it doesn't mean to. It's just kind of just the way you are. A vast lack of self-awareness.
But
You've got more than fucking 30 seconds, mate.
Andrew Wilson, you can shout over. You can shout over me all you want now. I said what I had to say. Andrew Wilson is one of
you had more than 30 seconds, mate. I'm still crying about your 30 seconds.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Andrew Wilson is one of thousands of people running scared from me. Like,
bro, your channel only has 1,000 subscribers. I am not the guy who's going to be like, oh, you're so small. But like, there's not thousands of people running from you. I promise.
Anyone who disagrees, they're scared.
Yeah, exactly. They honestly didn't know because you speak word salad. Bingo. Spot on. Spot on. This is pretty bad. He's making me feel bad for the Christians. He's on their side. Oof. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to agree with you. Is that Australian? I don't know what it is, but it's hard to listen to either way. Shout out to Indyville. Welcome to the party. We're going to get back to that in just a second. We are just taking a little bit of a side quest to indulge in some Discord drama. I don't know if you saw the chat, but it was on fire. Apparently, Andrew Wilson is terrified of this guy, EB3, who is in our server.
People running scared from me. Like
anyone who disagrees, they're scared.
No, when did I say that? That's some straw man shit. I just gave you a reason why, logically.
Stick him with the pointy end.
And you're just being childish, but that's fine.
I reason why you filled in the gaps with, he must just be scared of me. There's just no other explanation.
Right, so if people run from Andrew Wilson according to his video thumbnails, they are scared of him. But when he runs from me in exactly the same way when challenged, right, yeah, he's not scared of me. That's stepping outside of the...
I don't believe you.
Cope harder, dude.
He ran from you. He just didn't have time for your bullshit. He has better things to do.
You think? All right, okay. Didn't have time for my bullshit. That's a great argument.
He has better people to talk to.
You're a
the
child.
He could pick
You're an
and
emotional
choose
child.
who
You're an
he
emotional
wants to
child.
talk to. And if you
Jess,
don't
you're an
want to
emotional
talk to
child.
them,
You haven't got an
don't have
argument.
to. That's the
Stay in
thing,
your lane,
mate.
girl.
Like, you don't get.
Looks like a pointy French sword for fencing. Thank you. Yeah, I've heard the word before. I just didn't know what it was. So thank you. Learn something new every day.
And if you
Jess,
don't
you're
want
an
to
emotional
talk to
child.
them,
You haven't got an
don't have to.
argument.
That's the
Stay
thing,
in your lane,
mate.
girl.
Like, you don't get.
Stay in your lane.
You know what? It's nearly like
about.
the jealous of his following. It's
All you're doing
hilarious
is
to
crying
watch.
about Andrew. I don't get it.
Stay in your lane. I'm beating up Andrew all over this panel, and there's nothing you can
Oh,
do
I'm
about
sorry. Did I not repeat what you want to say and go, oh, yes, you're so right? I'm very
it. You
sorry
haven't got a
about
choice in the
that, mate.
matter.
I'm
You
sorry
thinking you have a
I'm
choice
fine.
in the matter is
No,
amusing.
you're right. I'm just scared of you. I'm just scared of you like Andrew. That's all it is.
It's exactly what's happening here.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
And this is essentially exactly the way that the conversation went throughout Discord. It's like, bro, like, did you ever think that, like, maybe he just doesn't care about you? And he's like, no, he's scared. Like, all right, dude. All right. Shout out to the princess bride. All right, let's dive back in here. Let's back up a little bit and see where we were. Oh yeah, when the media randomly was talking shit about Joe Rogan.
Who has the trust? Who has trust? I guarantee you, if you asked all of America, I don't know how many know Joe Rogan, but if you were to ask,
A lot more than know you.
a good amount.
Hey, shout out to equality and deference because vagina. Welcome to the party over on Rumble. Said liked and shared. Thank you so very, very much. Of course, you guys know how much that stuff helps the channel, even if you don't think that anybody is going to click on the link that that you shared. Just by you telling YouTube, I want more people to see this, they will show it to more people. So please do like and share. It is free and it is easy. Thank you. Well, I said, what the hell is this? Some Discord drama. You missed it. Don't even worry about it. Join the Discord if you want to know. Link is pinned. I'll give you one here.
If you asked all of America, I don't know how many know Joe Rogan, but if you were to ask, a good amount. But I'm saying I don't know, because you got to remember, these numbers, I don't believe them. I don't believe my own numbers. Right. So
therefore, Joe Rogan must not be really popular. Is that what you're trying to say? Tying a bow on the side quest on one bow said EB3 is pretty self-absorbed, has an inflated sense of belief that he's somehow special. Well, but he is. Didn't you see that brilliant argumentation? Andrew ran scared from him. And then who was it? Somebody. We won't name names, but apparently EB3's go-to is to just start calling everybody pedos. When you lose, call someone a pedo. That's a brilliant debater, according to EB3.
Numbers, I don't believe them. I don't believe my own numbers.
I wouldn't believe that anybody's watching you either.
So, let's say Rogan, has made a name for himself. He's been popularized within the media. I mean, I've always known him because I'm a UFC fan, but I don't think he's going to have a high indicia of trust with people outside the bro culture. It's about your space.
But then, and again, calling it bro culture. It's like, it's not bro culture. We're talking about scientists, and we're talking about political things without a degree. But that it's not bro science. It's like, bro, I think bro, that's it's such a lowbrow understanding of things that you're talking about in such a way that it's clear to everybody else, just like EB3, that you don't know what you're talking about. Like, why don't you just be like, yeah, I'm not really so familiar with that world, but maybe outside of that sphere, outside of bro culture.
I would disagree with you in that sense, because I think what people like about Joe is that they feel like he's authentic and that he is himself. Now, whether they agree or disagree with everything he says, what he's built over a period of years and really over a decade is trust that he is going to be who he is and call things how he sees them. Again, that doesn't mean he's always right. He built a show with his interests. Corporate media doesn't allow people to do that. Most journalists we don't know much about other than the fact that they opine on the news or they read the news. Rogan built an audience with his interests.
And that's a huge change, because it used to be a good thing that I say we, but I don't mean myself personally, but we as the American people didn't necessarily want news colored by personal opinion. But we now, looking back, know that, okay, there may have been a string of people who were good at delivering the news without injecting their personal bias, but that you can't find people to do that well, and you're not going to find people without a bias at all. And so you may as well lean into it and put your bias out front so that people aren't trying to guess what it is, and people can acknowledge that you have that bias. And because they know that that's your bias, they can see through it.
Here's the things I value. Here's what interests me. And he filters the current events through that lens. I think because people know who he is as a person, he's built a level of trust with them. There are, of course, people that dislike him. But even the people that dislike him, I would say they probably are less likely to think he's a cynical actor and more likely to just say, well, I don't agree with him, or I think he's bad for America, or whatever. I think when you talk about a corporate media structure where you have corporate sponsors, you have a lot of big money players in the mix.
How do people not know who Tim Dillon?
When it comes to advertisers, when it comes to media moguls who run these operations and have big political connections, right, which Joe has now, but for many years didn't. He interviewed Trump, but for many years, like, he doesn't come from that world. I think that he's built trust with his audience, and I think they trust that he's going to, again, not always be right, but be an honest broker of his own feelings, which I think CNN or Fox News or MSNBC, people are less likely to feel that way about anchors on those networks.
Not only that, but when you're not even getting the right information, then it allows you to be like, okay, well, if CNN was giving me the right information, but it was boring, or it wasn't covering what exactly the way that I want, something like that, then you'd be like, okay, it's the news. It's not meant to entertain you. It's meant to inform you. But when it's not informing you and it's not entertaining, well, fuck, at least I'll be entertained and be a little bit informed. I'd rather be well entertained and a little bit informed than not entertained and not informed, or worse, not entertained and misinformed.
Yeah, I also think that, yes, I think that that's a fair appraisal. I think Joe's limiting feature is that I don't think a lot of people find him to be serious on serious topics. I think he's authentic. Sometimes he gets out over his skis. That seems to be happening more recently. Why? Because he's getting scrutinized differently.
I would disagree with. I would agree with the fact that it's happening more often recently. But when he says why, I would say because you railed against him on CNN, and that maybe not broke his brain, but certainly put him on a different trajectory.
And the power of his platform is what? His guests. He gets all of the best guests. Why? Because he's got the most reach. We know why they're there. They're there to sell whatever it is that they're into. And that's all fine.
Guys, we are past the halfway mark on the $50. But remember, 15 supers could be any amount. 99 cents will count.
I think any media platform that's ever been invented, the guests are there to sell something.
Oh, 100%. I'm not, again, it's not unique. All media is the same. It's just the delivery device.
Yeah.
And
disagree. All media is not the same. If it was, you'd still be employed, homie.
Again, it's not unique. All media is the same. It's just the delivery device.
Yeah.
I think that's the cope he needs to sleep at night.
And podcasts will be the same thing. They're going to start getting bought up, and you'll see an evolution. You'll see Bill Burr is going to be put into a position to rival Rogan soon. They're going to get up.
I'm a big fan of Bill Burr. I love Bill Burr, even though he's had some terrible political takes recently. He's, you know, a Hollywood normie. That's what you expect from him. As far as comedy, he is up there. But his podcast is him talking into his iPhone alone in a hotel room while he's touring. In no way is the Monday morning podcast going to be bigger than the Joe Rogan experience, if for no other reason. I don't even like when Bill has a guest on. I like when Bill just does his thing. Shout out to Josie. Welcome to the party. Yeah, very, very clearly a change from when he was single to, I mean, it definitely was big when he got married, but I would even say that having a kid was maybe a bigger change. But either way, he's not that same guy that he used to. And yep, Equality is saying the same exact thing. Nia fucked it all up.
See, Bill Burr is going to be put into a position to rival Rogan soon. They're going to get other talent, Jerry Seinfeld. They're going to get other funny people.
Jerry Seinfeld. Oh, yeah, Jerry Seinfeld's got his finger on the pulse.
People who they're going to try to encroach on the space. And we'll see. We'll see where they develop an audience and where they don't.
I cannot wait to see what Tim says to this.
But I do think that there's risk in all this. And here's my in watching what you do and watching what I do.
Your nipples? What was that? Why are you
where they develop an audience and where they don't. But I do think that there's risk in all this. And here's my in watching what you
cut the camera. Just do a reaction shot to Tim. Well, you need to scratch your nipple.
Do and watching what I do.
Colin said, rival Rogan, LOL. Finger on the pulse. We should call him Chucky. Finger on the pulse.
Idea that, as you said, agreeable nihilism. We were joking, but there's a real truth in that. None of it matters. Nothing is true. Nothing is real. It's all how you feel. You know, that's what it is. You can go any way on anything. I think there's a danger in that. And I think we're living it. I don't know how aware of it we are.
Yeah, I would internalize it a little differently. Not that nothing is real, but like your family's real. Your friends are real.
Good one. Good one, good one, good one. You like Bill Burr? Sounds like you are scared, running from logic. Let's take a little break. If you guys are enjoying the show, the party rages on 24/7 over in our Discord. The link is pinned to the top of the chat and is absolutely free to join 24/7. We're in there hanging out, having a great time. And guys, it is absolutely free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below that video and hit that join button. Starts at $2.99. There's a few different tiers, but $2.99 will get you in. It gets you members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it opens up the full Discord server. So we've got the free chat that is open to anyone. Anybody can join and talk. But as you can see, that is just one of our channels. There's a bunch of different channels here, including our disciple chat for members only, our word of the day watch party, where we're talking about all this stuff. And of course, we have the voice channel here, where we are hanging out at this moment. Shout out to everybody in the Discord server. Say hello and tell them to come and join.
Hello, come and join.
There you go, guys. Simple as that. See you there. And of course, remember, guys, that after party is for members only. But if you click that link at the top of the chat right now before the stream ends, you will get a day pass to that after party. Something that EV3 was crying for 4 hours because I wouldn't give him for 5 seconds. Maybe check it out. Maybe it's worth it.
I would internalize it a little differently. Not that nothing is real, but like your family's real, your friends are real, your community is real. The internet largely isn't real. What a lot of what politicians and media figures say is not necessarily real. We've established that. So the nihilism to me is like it's a cynicism that's relatively healthy because it can keep you alive and it can keep you from going broke. It can keep you from falling for anything a huckster says. So I don't internalize nihilism as like this complete emptiness or void of meaning. I think it's just having a very healthy skepticism and cynicism about the narratives that are being pushed all the time.
But why do conspiracies pop in a unique way in American culture now, especially on digital media?
Because of everything that you guys have been talking about for the last 30 minutes. The experts, the expert class of everything has lost their credibility. So now the question is, who else is lying? Or at the very least, who else is wrong?
Yeah, because I think
Colony said, I have Gollum hands. Do I have Gollum hands? Like, what does that mean? Spindly skeleton hands, perfect for choking people in their sleep. Well, I certainly like choking people.
Tim Dillon is going to do well. If you were someone who was talking to me about why the government isn't talking to us about UAPs, you'd do 1.5 times as well. Why?
Sure. Yes, maybe.
Because we've seen stuff in the sky. That's why. Do you think, Chris Cuomo, do you think that if we hadn't been seeing shit all over the sky and we talked about UFOs or UAPs or whatever, that it would do well? Probably not. You could do a video about leprechauns. It's probably not going to do very well, but that's because nobody's seen a fucking leprechaun. It's almost like it's really fucking simple.
Maybe. I mean, I think that the problem with this conversation about experts is that the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal are supposed to be diametrically opposed on a lot of things. You know, their position is very different.
Yeah.
But really, they come down on the same side of most issues. The Washington Post, same thing. ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. All of these organizations have never really challenged like the dominance of the financial sector in American politics, the trade, immigration, all of these things, the militarism, all of these things have been pretty consistent. That experts on all sides of the spectrum, Republicans and Democrats, have all come down on the same side of a lot of these issues. And
okay, guys, just a quick question. When the poll is referring to this stuff, this black and white stuff moving. That's what I'm asking about.
A lot of their kids go to the same schools, and a lot of them belong to the same social clubs, and a lot of them have gone to the same schools. And it feels like to a lot of Americans who feel like they were sold out, or that the economic system doesn't work for them, or that their concerns about immigration are constantly called racist, or their concerns about what their kids are being taught in school, they're constantly accused of being transphobic or like some fundamentalists. A lot of those people feel that they're losing control of their lives and their communities because people that are supposed to have all of these varying viewpoints have actually landed on the same side of many of these big issues.
Yep. Again! Oh my goodness. Funk, Master General, back in the building with the $10, said we swear to serve the Morty. And serve the Morty we do. Thank you so very, very much. 4 out of 15, 37 out of 50. Guys, we are getting close. Let's hit the goal.
2 points have actually landed on the same side of many of these big issues that were never voted on and that the American people never had a say in. So the question about the conspiracies, and I think we all know some conspiracies.
99 cents will do it, guys. 99 cents counts. A super sticker counts. Cash App or Venmo counts. All of that shit counts.
These are valid and some are absurd. But the question of all of that seems to arise from the same place, which is that Americans are trying to figure out how this system is so wildly corrupt and it no longer serves their interests. And they're seeing a lot of patterns, and some of the patterns are crazy, right? Like, oh, it's the Jews or the earth is flat or whatever. But then some of the patterns are very, very understandable, where they go, it does seem like there are a lot of interlocking power factions that have each other's back, whether you want to call it a deep state or you.
Shout out to K-Kicks. Welcome. Said, love the shows. Thank you so very, very much. Welcome to the party. DJ said, I missed part of it, but did Cuomo suggest that mainstream media is not nihilistic? No, I don't think that was necessarily what they were saying. During the introduction, Tim Dillon said that, his show is a way to present the, he said agreeable nihilism. That was kind of the content of his show, and a way to talk about the fact that they're talking about serious issues that may not really have a clear answer, but that we can all get on board with. That's just general. I mean, don't pin me down on that, but that's what he was referring to. So Tim Dillon brought up the agreeable nihilism when he was talking about his own content. So Chris was just referring to that. All right, let's
power factions that have each other's back. Whether you want to call it a deep state, or you want to call it a permanent government, or you want to call it the corporate state, which is the marriage of government and big business, whatever you want to call it, most Americans.
Got it. See, I would have missed the Lord of the Rings reference without equality there.
They're seeing that their lives and livelihoods are not being prioritized by this kind of amorphous blob of very wealthy, well-connected people. And whether those people...
That's who we call they. Well, some people call they Zedgels! But normal people, when they say they are in charge, they're talking about this amorphous blob of wealthy, well-connected people.
Amorphous blob of very wealthy, well-connected people. And whether those people are simply united by class interest, whether some of them are being blackmailed, whether some of them just have ruthless career ambition, whatever it is, they seem to be on the same side of all these issues. I think that's where a lot of this conspiracy stuff comes from.
Why is it that people on the fringe right seem to engage in conspiracies more? Is it a coincidence that Benny Johnson and Charlie Kirk are more interested in the Epstein files? Is it a
Well, not anymore. Not since Elon's tweet. Ooh, that is a good poll. That is a good poll. I'll let this one run for a minute. I guess you guys seem non-committal, so I'll just end this one.
Benny Johnson and Charlie Kirk are more interested in the Epstein files. Is it a coincidence that Rogan was talking so much about Epstein killing himself versus being murdered? Why do we hear more of that on the right?
He was murdered, or I think more. Do you think it's more likely that he's alive somewhere, or that he was murdered? Which is more likely? I'm not saying it did or didn't happen. Let's just say potentially he did actually just kill himself, and the exact story, or the official narrative, is the true story. Which would be more likely to happen?
Killing himself versus being murdered. Why do we hear more of that on the right?
I think there's people on the fringe left, if you remember, and I listen, I think Epstein probably was murdered. I mean, I don't think
based on what?
Well, based on the idea that the cameras went out and the guards fell asleep, and he had information on some of the most powerful people in the world, and his best friend, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, the Seymour Hersh, wrote a book alleging that he was an agent of the Mossad, and they had what clearly seems like a honeypot operation, and that all of these politicians were on his jet.
Yeah, a great point too. Like, a lot of these conspiracies have become truth. So it stands to reason that other things that are called conspiracies might be true.
It feels like, again...
what is this? DJ said patently false. Patriarchy theory, systematic racism, men are women, whites being born with the original sin of being forever racist. These are tinfoil crackpot theories. Well said. Well said. I will dilly to that, because I didn't even think of some of these just really out there ideas because of how integrated they are. Because when you look at it like this, it's like, God damn, they do have some crazy ass shit that they talk about pretty openly. And maybe the culture war is not quite over.
Operation, and that all of these politicians were on his jet. Like, it feels like, again, just from an outsider's point of view, he got a sweetheart deal for the first time he was accused and convicted of being inappropriate with a minor. And I don't know the exact terminology. He did a lot more than be inappropriate with a minor. But you have this intriguing, weird figure who's connected to
weird
all of these very powerful people, and has an island where people are going to meet up with underage women. And
weird.
And all of these people are coming out and testifying to that effect. And then right before his trial, he dies. I mean, Chris, let's be honest. If we're talking about the mafia, and we're talking about a guy that had information on all of these big, powerful people, and he gets whacked, does not a part of your brain, and I'm, Kirk or Johnson or Rogan or whoever, me or anybody who's looking at this, and people on the left and the fringe left also has some conspiracies. One of them was that Donald Trump was an agent of Russia. And by the fringe left, I mean every media organization, including the one you used to work for, every day was Russiagate. So to me, it's like, don't you look at the Epstein thing and for a minute say to yourself, yes, it is possible that this guy who is involved in potentially blackmailing people, but certainly involved in human trafficking and connected to all these wealthy, powerful people, gets whacked before he can say any of their names?
Well, that is quite an answer as to why would people be thinking in a conspiratorial manner? Why? It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm Chris Cuomo, and it just doesn't make sense.
To all these wealthy, powerful people, gets whacked before he can say any of their names?
Yes.
Yeah, totally. Just like, yeah. Just that Rogan episode with Kash Patel was a clear sight that Patel was lying his fucking ass off about Epstein. I agree. We covered a little bit of it. Put a one in the chat if you want to do a quick side quest. I think we could cover it in about 5 minutes. But if you didn't see that, yeah, I completely agree, Josie. He basically just came and was like, trust me, bro, trust me. Like, would I do some shit? I don't fucking know you. I don't know you. What do you mean? Would you do? I don't know. Would you do some shit? I don't know.
Well, people gets whacked before he can say any of their names?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, right there is as hard as he's gone so far.
I think it's very curious. I think that.
Okay, he's saying yes, it's curious, but like.
I don't believe. I guess what my gripe with it is that.
Oh, we got a one from Equality. So, all right, I'll find.
I don't believe that there's high ground on the right on these things. Like Russiagate, I lived it. Okay, let me just make a couple of points that I just know are true, and you can do with them what you want. Okay. Sure. I've never seen any other political team do what Trump's team did. Never. And Paul Manafort will agree with that. Paul Manafort has been in exactly one meeting where he was sitting with other campaign officials and realized that he was talking to someone who was selling themselves as a Russian asset, and he got up and left, he says. Okay.
Here it is. Here it is. Liberty Vault. That's who I was looking for. So again, it shouldn't take more than a minute. But if you missed it, I think this is rather important.
Which
shout out again to Liberty Hangout.
Every single camera in the place was working. I'm saying we've got footage and you're getting it.
Are
And
we though? Are we though?
Then you can make up your own mind.
So one of the most stunning news revelations that's come out in the last 24 hours is Kash Patel on the Joe Rogan Experience saying not only does cell video footage exist from Epstein's cell at the time in which he killed himself, right, which many Americans do not believe, but also that the FBI is going to release that footage to the populace so that they can make their own minds. I think he's omitting a very key point of information here. So let's clarify, let's watch, and let's react. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.
I've said it. Dan Bongino said it. We've reviewed all the information, and the American public is going to get as much as we can release.
As much as we can release. Already a shifty kind of way to phrase things.
He killed himself. Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Or
I don't know. Is it beyond the realm of things that could be possible? Absolutely fucking not.
Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on?
Maybe if your life and your family's life are in danger, then yeah.
But the problem is there's been like 15 years of people coming in and creating fictions about this that doesn't exist. Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you?
Again, if there's people who said, hey, Kash, if you show this to the people, we're going to kill you and your family, and we're going to tie you up and RPay your daughter. I don't know if he has any kids, but you know, like, you know what I mean? This is such weak shit. Trust me, bro. Yeah, right? Like, that's some old school shit. I thought we were in the new school, but not quite. Wonderful said, yes, I believe the FBI director would be possibly concealing info. If the shoe fits, Kash. If the shoe fits.
If it existed, I'm working my ass off along with the leadership at the Bureau and DOJ to get you what we're allowed to.
Yeah, allowed by who?
I'm working my ass off along with the leadership at the Bureau and DOJ to get you what we're allowed to give you. And you're going to get the video of the cell, and you're going to see for yourself. And we will never be able to convince everyone.
Okay. All right. So first of all, this is a little bit disingenuous in that the history is that Kash Patel actually thought there was skepticism in regard to the official narrative regarding Epstein's murder. He said clearly, though, at the beginning of this, that Epstein killed himself. But actually, again, he was skeptical of that in an interview. You can check this. It's documented with Stu Peters in 2022, where he said a lot of the circumstances don't line up to be a suicide in this case. He's clearly changed his tune since he's been the CIA or the FBI director. Also, he gets on this kind of kick about like, what would I release if I had it, I'd release it to you. But no, I don't think if you had videotapes of the sexual exploitation of children that those would be released. And virtually no one of sense expects them to. What we expect is that to be documented and any of the perpetrators involved in these crimes get brought to justice and get charged with the crimes they deserve.
Let's get into that. So what did you think before you got in office? Did you think?
So that was mainly what we were talking about. If I trust anyone to dig up some dirt on some petty shit, not that this is petty shit, but we got Kyle Kalinske here talking about lies. Let's see. Going back, we got this. So this was the original
have
one.
a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
So Dan Bongino and Cash Patel.
So that's what they're saying. Does he have the old clip?
We learned wild shit. Like, for example, Trump liked to cuck his friends. He would try to fuck his friends' wives.
Based.
We also learned Trump and Melania first had sex on the Lolita Express. That's Jeffrey Epstein's plane. That's the plane for elite child accepting. Epstein's connections to powerful figures, broken cameras, and
where are we?
Pretty good here, but somebody asked Grok about it, and Grok chimed in and said, Jeffrey Epstein's death in 2019 is a polarizing topic. Official reports, including the New York City Medical Examiner and DOJ, ruled it a suicide by hanging, citing prison failures like broken cameras and lack of staff checks as contributing factors. However, I'm skeptical of accepting this. Epstein's connections to powerful figures raise questions, and a pathologist hired by his family noted injuries more consistent with homicide, fueling conspiracy theories. His brother and attorney also doubted the suicide narrative, pointing to Epstein's upcoming bail hearing. Both sides have gaps, official reports lack transparency, and conspiracy theories often lack hard evidence. Without clear proof, I can't fully trust either conclusion. The truth remains uncertain. So this is Grok saying, yeah, I'm agnostic. I don't know exactly what happened with Jeffrey Epstein.
But Cash Patel and Dan Bongino clearly do. So I guess we're not going to get the actual clip. We'd have to do a little bit of digging for that, and I don't care too much. But, that's the long and short of what we got going on with Cash Patel and saying, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. If it was there, I'd show you. Trust me, bro. No. I trust no one. I trust no one. I don't believe my own lying eyes with Google VO these days. Yeah, we got that. DJ said his eyes scream compromised. I know vibes are not an argument, but still, hey, maybe it won't hold up in court, but we all know what the fuck you're talking about. Whether we've seen it or not, whether we've seen it or not, we know what you're talking about. Nick said, so you're telling me, you are telling me he was on the pedo plane, but he was screwing a grown woman? What's the problem here? There ain't one. Unless we want to say that everybody who's ever been on the plane, if you all want to play that game, I'll play that game. I'll give up Trump to see what y'all have to fucking deal with. Y'all being the left. We could play that game. Anybody who's been on the plane is guilty. It's not going to work out well for you guys. If you're married and you're on private planes all the time, why would you not be in the Mile High Club?
Themselves as a Russian asset, and he got up and left, he says. Okay.
Yeah, Carly said, my position, don't trust government agents. Good rule of thumb. Good rule of thumb. With these words you're throwing at me, I'm not smart enough for this. You're beneficence? Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Are you using these words to make me look stupid? Don't give me that. Where's the thing with the thing? I want the... No, give me the... I want the... Oh, wait. I'll do... yeah, there we go. Pronunciation. Haha. No! I wanted you to say it! Beneficence. It's a noun, and the word broken down. Well, okay, now that I know how to fucking say it, since you won't say it for me, the ethical principle of acting in a way that promotes well-being and benefits of others. It involves not just avoiding harm, but actively seeking to improve the lives of individuals or communities. This can encompass acts of charity, kindness, and generosity, or more broadly, any action that contributes to the positive well-being of others. Well, thank you, Equality. What a very, very nice thing to say. And teaching me a new word as well. Thank you so very, very much. Let's shout out our boy Matthew King. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Very good to see ya. DJ Nick said, I take just a flight just to join them. Well, I said, shit. Me, I don't really. On a PJ, I would, but I'm not going through the airport for that. DJ said the biggest problem is they didn't furnish or publish these findings or more when he first ran for office. Instead, they called him a racist and a misogynist. Well, the orange man is bad, so, obviously. And he said, I mean, Trump did have his own plane or a plane, so if he wanted to have sex with a woman on a plane, it would have been easy enough to do it in his own plane. As if you need... I'm not saying that it's necessarily a good thing that you don't need a Jeffrey Epstein in order to do that kind of stuff. But you don't need a Jeffrey Epstein to do that kind of stuff, especially when you got the kind of money that that Trump has. Come on. Yeah, any of them said, how about we get the complete unredacted client list? That's what the fuck I'm talking about. Unfortunately, though, I tend to agree with DJ Isolated. I think we will never see that list. I think they will have some type of thing similar to the Pfizer documents with the COVID jab, that in 2076, that's when they'll release the files. Epstein, they got to wait for everybody to die and then all of their kids. So I'm going to say 3005. 3005. That's when we see the list. Shout out to Dylan Soup. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Equality, you're leaving? All right, you have a good one. Let's dive right back in.
That he was talking to someone who was selling themselves as a Russian asset, and he got up and left, he says. Okay? Once, the guy's been in the business 60 years. Once, he was in a meeting like that. Once, have I ever heard of guys like Roger Stone, who knows better, and Michael Caputo, who knows better?
No, that's a Malfi Jets. If you know, you know. And by that, I mean you're on TikTok.
Sit down with a guy who says, I got information for you from Russian intelligence sources that'll help with Hillary.
Wait a minute. What kind of Ubers are you taking? You know what? I don't even want to know.
Clinton. Once I've heard of somebody taking a meeting like that. Now, were they right to go to school in the dossier the way they did?
The Steele dossier that was paid for by the Clintons.
Well, indirectly.
Yes, but...
that makes it better. It was through a foundation. It's not like it came right out of their pockets. Oh, okay. Well, then they're clear.
Indirectly, Oppo research had been paid for, but that guy was not working.
MI6
was not working for Clinton when he did it. But in fairness to him, he never said that everything in there was fact. He worked the situation that he was paid to work.
But a lot of that stuff was used and peddled by the media to convince people that Donald Trump was an agent of a foreign government. That does a ton of damage to democracy. It does a ton of damage.
Well, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. And again, these are observations of things that were true. I've also never heard of anybody who said what Donald Trump said.
Well, just as a little, just so you know, most people don't take Ubers, or at least there's not an association with taking an Uber that you're going to pay a child. So, I mean, the joke was there. It's not a bad joke. It had me laugh, but it don't really make sense. Funny. DJ said, Cuomo and family have so much dirt on them. How can Tim contain himself? I think that it would look bad on, Chris already looks bad by virtue of being this. He already looks bad. I don't think it helps Tim. I don't know. Because if he came in here and was like, Chris, you're a piece of shit. You did this, that, and that. I don't know if that would necessarily be the best thing for Tim Dillon's, the optics. I think there's always going to be a cohort of people who, myself included, who would love to see Chris Cuomo get dressed down. But I don't know. It's a different audience, so I see where you're coming from, but I also definitely see that maybe Tim wouldn't want to go as hard as possible. Save that for next time. Eddie Film said, I can't believe Cuomo is still holding on to this Russian shit. That's all he knows. That's all he knows. Dylan said, I'm here a few minutes, and Chris is already being an airhead. Yep, he started immediately.
About wanting more WikiLeaks, about wanting Russia to do more of the things. If they were interfering, interfere more. And, when you say things like that, of course, you are asking for scrutiny. And if you think it's just started with Trump, you remember Gary Hart. Gary Hart looks at the media and says, enough with the questions about me fucking around on my wife. You want to know what I do? Follow me.
Trump says a lot.
They follow him and they bust him on monkey
Trump
business.
says a lot of wild stuff. But I think the part of the issue, I think the way the media has viewed Trump as he's this existential threat, and in many of their minds, I believe they believe that this is true, who has to be vanquished at all costs, even if we're engaging in dishonesty or we're inflating something. I mean, it started with he's a Russian asset. It ended with he inflated the price of a condo. I mean, the amount of things they tried to get the guy on. They had the full power of the federal government. They had Robert Mueller. They had a very
they had Mueller, who's a Republican, a lifelong one, and we learned.
So that must mean that obviously he's on Trump's side, because there's no such thing as a neocon or a rhino. And it's, immediately in 2015, when Trump came down those escalator stairs, the entire Republican Party establishment was like, yes, that's our guy. Right? Oh, that's not how it happened? Rhino's gonna rhino. And mainstream media host gonna mainstream media host.
They had a very
they had Mueller, who's a Republican, a lifelong one, and we learned way too.
Look at Tim's reaction. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
They had a very
they had Mueller, who's a Republican, a lifelong one, and we learned way too late that he was way off his game, and it was actually David Weissman who was running that investigation. He is not a lifelong Republican, and he definitely wanted to get Trump, which is why they had that list of potential charges at the end that everybody who wants to say there was nothing to it ignores. Now, fair, all of those crimes were crimes of cover-ups. And it is often like that in criminal law, whenever anything is conspiratorial or fraud-based, that they don't get you for the initial activity, they get you for how you tried to cover what you did initially.
Look, it seems like there's a level of scrutiny being applied to Donald Trump that was not applied to the Clintons,
I agree.
the Obamas.
Well, Clinton isn't a good example, because Clinton got attacked in a way that Trump wasn't even attacked.
For what? Things that he actually did? Josie said, trust me, Tim will talk about this Saturday. That's when his podcast drops, and he will say everything he's keeping inside. That's why Tim is letting Chris go. Okay. Well, this is from a minute ago. So let's take a little tour and see what he was talking about. Let's just do Tim Dillon himself. He was on
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Hot Ones. Do we want to do live or no videos? So this was 4 days ago. 11 days ago was before that. So let's just
ladies and gentlemen,
and we'll go through the transcript and see where Control F, Chris Cuomo doesn't even mention him. Nope, that's Andrew Cuomo.
All right, we get it.
Oh, sorry, you can see it. It says, wildfire video captured by Instagram user shows a police helicopter being dispatched on Jones Beach to force a group of brawling high schoolers to disperse. Okay, and then
this
Okay, that's not it. Oh wait, what happened to the thing? Let's try again. F. Cuomo. Cuomo. Number 2. Yep, that was. No.
Just can't be involved with it.
You see what I mean? Now, Cuomo is and what did he even do? He grabbed a woman in a Buca de Beppo?
Again, he's talking about Andrew Cuomo.
Who cares? Enough with that. I don't know what Cuomo did. I think he smacked a woman's tits with like fresh moots or something. He took some mozzarella and...
Moots. So we got that.
Let's get up. This is Andrew Cuomo's campaign ad for mayor of New York. Let's go.
How you doing? How you doing? Stay put. You're gonna get indicted for looking too good. Yo, Mo, watch out. You cross the street like you got 2 left feet. You're gonna have a major problem. How you doing? Copy, stand back, Mo. Stand back. It's flammable. That's flammable. Oh, the bagels must be good in here. Bacon, egg, and cheese, sesame seed, a little butter, a little side, no problems, and how you doing with a pickle on the top.
Am I watching The Sopranos? All right, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Andrew Cuomo there, and the only other Cuomo is the title of this video. Josie, you lied. You lied. You lied.
How dare you?
He didn't say a word. What do you think of that? That is an interesting thing. Let's shout out our boy, Funk Messer General. Again. Said I spent money like a rich guy's neglected wife last week. So the rest is up to everybody else. This boy needs muscles indeed, guys. Guys, it's $3. $3. That's 3 different 99-cent super chats. And we're doing push-ups. Up to you guys.
Clinton isn't a good example because Clinton got attacked in a way that Trump wasn't even attacked.
Well, but Clinton was impeached. Trump was impeached twice.
Right, but I'm saying Clinton started with D'Amato opening the Whitewater investigation, which
by the
was
way,
into his wife.
A senator from my hometown.
Yes,
I saw him in the
Park.
We go to the same fish restaurant, Artie's Fish, South Shore Fish. It's great.
I love Senator D'Amato, and this is a worthy digression.
Yes.
What
The fucking moons, the gabagool. The gabagool.
What does it mean when Chris Cuomo says he loves Senator Alphonse D'Amato? Senator Alphonse D'Amato unseated my father.
Right.
Alphonse D'Amato found George Pataki, ran him against my father, and won.
Right.
I should therefore hate Alphonse D'Amato.
And I, the opposite of hate, in with the $2. Thank you so much. No question, no comment, just pure love of the overlord. Guys, 99 cents. 99 cents. One person can finish up this whole thing. Finish me off, baby. Let's go. Thank you so very, very much, sir.
Against my father and won.
Right.
I should therefore hate Alphonse D'Amato, but I don't. Why? Because I was raised in that game. And that's what happens in politics. And D'Amato, before that and after that, was respectful of my father as a man.
Right.
Asked him for things, spent time with him. So I know him in a different way. That world is dead. And in the new world of what we started talking about, not you, which is, I really enjoy your stuff, but in the Rogan, Smith,
I bet you he's never, ever, except in preparation for this conversation, ever listen to anything Tim Dillon said.
If all these new players, it's all...
Whoa. Oh. We're now getting in... Well, you, Tim, you're all right, but Rogan, Dave Smith, completely different shows, but, you know, whatevs.
But in the Rogan, Smith, all these new players, it's...
So, Rogan, Smith, and
all us and them all the time.
Well, Rogan's not... I wouldn't say...
Projection. You, Chris Cuomo of CNN, is saying Rogan and Dave Smith are us and them all the time. Let's just take a quick. This is not even going to count as a side quest, but I just want you to look at the titles of that Dave has been using. So, and I've videos. Yes. Okay. So where are we? So I have not listened to this one yet. them 2 days ago. Did I listen? I think no, I don't think I listened to these last two. But in the Trump versus Musk, he's basically saying, hey, I'm kind of with Musk here. I'm not really playing sides, but Trump, or rather, Elon Musk did a lot more for Trump than Trump did for Elon Musk. That was this episode. This one is a most pathetic argument. This one's kind of on the side, but it's not really whatever. This one's more about Jake Tapper. Doge has failed and Trump has failed. Us versus them all the time, bro. All the time. Dave Smith is America first. I would say they both are, but I mean, like, what are we even talking about? What are we even talking about? Dylan said, legend has it, Chris has become the Kathy Newman to Dave Smith's Jordan Peterson. Oh, dilly to that. Oh, I forgot I asked you guys about this. So, I mean, most of you think, okay. All right. So only 8% of you think that the Elon Trump, the Elon Trump beef is fake. But a third of you are with me and not really sure. I really don't know. It seems like if it was going to be fake, it would happen exactly like this. That's as far as I can really go. I haven't really kept up with every single tweet, so maybe there's something that's like, oh well, it would. But somebody was saying, I asked this on a community tab post, and someone was like, "That's crazy to think that they would be like, hey, why don't you tell everybody that I was on a pedos plane?" Like, yeah, we already know that he's on the that he's in the documents, he's in the files, and he's been on the plane. It's well documented that they were friends. All this does is distance Elon from Trump. Maybe not all of this does, but what this absolutely does is distance Elon from Trump and MAGA. I don't know if you've seen what's been going on with Tesla lately, but there's a reason that Elon might want to move away from Trump. He's done with Doge, and he needs to get that stock price back up. And it's a good way for him to just go back to being a non-political person. Just saying.
Smith, all these new players, it's all us and them all the time.
Well, Rogan's not, I wouldn't say he's a new player, but
he's in the last 10 years.
I think.
Okay. All right.
What you're saying, and I think that it's a value judgment. I think it's a value judgment. I think there are a lot of people.
Wait, they made up already? It's over? I missed the end. I missed the whole thing? They made up in suspicious time. Trump and Elon, in retrospect, have been pulling soft punches for them, at least. Very, very true. Another reason, like, they could both go hard as fuck. And it seems like, little pitter-patter, tit-for-tat. I agree. I said, I feel like Elon was told all his cuts didn't go through, and he crashed out. Basically turned his world upside down for nothing. It's not for nothing, though. And so, taking the case that if it were real, that the idea isn't that, well, I did nice things for you, so you should do nice things for me. The idea was, we're here to do right for America. You don't get, we'll thank you for your service to the country, but like, if you're doing, again, in the context that it's real, if you're doing this stuff so that you can get kickbacks, then you're just as bad as everybody else. That may be the case, but it doesn't seem like he's that guy. I'm not saying I know Elon very well. I'm just saying that's what it seems like to me. I gotta watch that. I'm so frustrated that Theo's company claims their shit. Like, we can, Jubilee, at least they'll claim it afterwards. But the whatever company Theo works for, they'll nuke the whole stream. So we've tried it before, and we've gotten like a good ways through it. But I wish we could cover that. What do we got from King
Elon
Nirvana?
Musk has another secret. Elon Musk has.
In the Discord, guys, if you want to be able to drop links to me that we can pull up during the show, hit that link at the top of the chat. Everything Elon Musk is doing is weird, according to Moist Critical.
Elon Musk has another secret baby mama. Well, it doesn't sound like a secret. Haven't heard of that, though. I did watch a really cool video of Elon Musk walking yesterday, though. I don't think I've ever seen him, I guess, walk from that angle.
But where do you think it failed, and where do you think, like, what lessons have you learned that you know you're not going to be making on Starship? To, like, do a mission. You're just trying to get data out of the thing.
It looks like those old video game AI demonstrations showing walk cycles and gait patterns.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Like, that's how it looks when, like, a space captain walks into frame during, like, a 70s animation. He moves his head like an alien trying to get used to it. Yeah, the one I've seen compared to quite a bit is the cockroach from Men in Black 1. Because it's somewhat similar.
Yeah.
Like, he's not comfortable in the skin yet.
But where do you think it failed, and where do you think, like, what lessons have you learned that you
like that
know
right
you're
there.
not going to be making on
No, okay. Come on. I think that was just like one of these. Like, he's just walking. That's all it looked like to me. What do you guys think? So, okay. We'll make this a poll. Was this weird? I'm already giving you my answer. I say no. I think he was just walking, and it's an like you said, like he said, it's an odd angle, and he's just walking, and then just stretching his neck.
And where do you think, like, what lessons have you learned that you know you're not going to be making on Starship? To, like, do a mission. You're just trying to get data out of the thing.
It looks like those old video game AI demonstrations.
It is definitely weird, and a very good chance that it's an AI. But unquestionably, yeah, as it went on, because on the first one, it was just like, all right, that's just that. Maybe he didn't get it. I don't know. It definitely a little off, but I don't know. Maybe he's butt itched. I feel like when you got that much money, if you butt itch, you fucking scratch it. Just scratch it. Don't nobody give up. But, well, I mean, they might, but they're broke compared to you. So who gives a shit? All right. Yeah. The arms, though. And remember, everything that you see could very well be AI. Put a one in the chat if you've not seen prompt theory or what Google VO3 can do. The new Tesla butt plug. Oh. Remotely controlled by your viewers on X. Oh, God. Oh, man. Yeah. Anybody has anybody not seen prompt theory or what Google VO3 can do?
It's a value judgment. I think it's a value judgment. I think there are
TikTok's better.
A lot of people that are always going to look for a more traditional structure for their information to come through. And I think that's fine. I don't tell people where to get news. What I tell people is get news from many different sources, use their own brain, cross-reference things, use a knowledge of history if they can get one. And I think people are gonna have to make their own decisions about a lot of things. With the Trump Russiagate thing, to me, the amount of damage done to the country's psyche and the fact that it's never grouped in with any conspiratorial thinking, and that it is never mentioned alongside other types of conspiracies. The fact that it was dropped by the media. They never bring it up anymore. They never even mention it.
But we do that with everything.
Well, for sure. But this was calling the president of the United States an asset of a foreign power, and that he had possibly been recruited in the 80s.
Is this still working? Okay.
These these articles were so salacious and conspiratorial. And then
the comments, I'm clicking on the comments, are a little delayed, just so everybody knows. But thank you very, very much, Matthews. Don't forget to like and share, everyone. Even if nobody sees the share it anyway. It doesn't matter if you think nobody's going to click on the link. Just by telling YouTube that you want other people to see it, they will show it to other people. Thank you so very, very much.
Publishing of this dossier, and then Jane Mayer, who I respect, and I think it is a good journalist at The New Yorker, writing these things about these fantasy tapes and the urine and all this stuff. And then late night hosts are doing jokes about it, and everybody, it's seeping into the culture, but it's never called a conspiracy. It's never been, I don't think there's a ton of reflection in the media on it. You know more than I do about that. But I feel like there's never been a mea culpa. There's never been an I'm sorry. There's never been a we got this wrong. There's only been, hey, we didn't have the goods on it, but we kind of somewhat still believe it.
Tim, name me some.
I was doing this when Trump got shot. What in what context? What do you mean? What was everyone? You mean like at that moment? Like where were you when Trump got shot? I I probably was just watching because like July is when things really with the dog training really started going downhill in terms of clients. I was probably just sitting around, and then I seen some shit on YouTube and like, yeah, damn.
Somebody who has apologized for anything in public life and it went well for them.
Hey, let's give a dilly to that. I know it's not a common thing to even a lot of people liking videos. But like it just helps so much that like for you to just do that, it literally could change my life. You do that to like, that and that to share, and it could change my life. So thank you very, very much, guys.
Somebody who has apologized for anything in public life and it went well for them. Donald Trump is 100% right.
Yeah.
Only a fool apologizes when the people you're apologizing to want to beat you over the head with it. He's right. He is not wrong.
So now we see why we did not get any kind of real apology on PBD when he was with Dave Smith. What did he just say?
Percent right.
Yeah.
Only a fool apologizes when the people you're apologizing to want to beat you over the head with it. He's right. He is not wrong to not apologize for things that people find offensive. I honestly,
nobody's gonna answer Josie. What are you guys doing?
I know that sounds rude. I know that doesn't sound adult.
I agree with you,
but he's right,
this is
because if he were to apologize, he'd get killed.
A little bit about the
Tim's getting ready.
Moral high ground, and I think the idea is that like podcasters don't have a moral high ground and they're just peddling whatever, but then there are these experts.
I don't think there's any moral high ground. I don't think there has been for a long time, because look at what happened with Trump. Okay. You can write 3 books on how what happened to him with Russia Gate or whatever you want to call it was wrong. What was the first thing he did when he got in power? He went after Biden for being a Ukrainian Russian plant.
Was he a Ukrainian Russian plant? So different, but same, but very fucking different, right?
The first thing he did was go after Biden and his son, weaponizing a guy's addiction.
You tried, Josie. You tried.
I don't know how much you know about that world, but unfortunately,
I was an addict for many years. From when I started doing cocaine at 12 and I stopped at 25, and I never ended up in the Ukraine, and I never took a photo of everything I did and put it on a laptop.
But you know
and then
very
dropped
well.
it off in Circuit City.
But you know.
In Circuit City.
Stupid.
You know what I've never heard is some type of even drug-induced rationale as to why that laptop was ever out of his possession. From what I remember, it was a repair shop, and then he just like left it there. Like, okay, that part makes sense. That's just like, fuck it. I'm in a different place in the fucking world, so I'll just get a new laptop. That part makes sense. Why were you bringing your laptop into a repair shop in the first place? Unless it was but even that, because unless it was like, oh, I need these pictures, but then why did you leave it there? The maybe all of it? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's exactly what he's implying. He's like, well, we went after Trump for Russia, but then we went after Biden for Ukraine. No, the same thing. We're getting into it. Let's fucking go. Yep. I mean, I guess so. I guess we just got to chalk it up to that many drugs. Amanda, you have a good one. You take care. All right.
Everything I did and put it on a laptop,
but you know
and then
very
dropped
well
it off in Circuit City.
But you know very well that Hunter Biden is a typical drug-addled person.
I know.
What does that have to do with Trump?
I know a lot of drug-addled people. Very few of them ended up in the Ukraine, and I mean, their dads were the vice president.
It's not about why he wasn't.
It's a unique life. Let's say that. It's a unique life.
You would have to look at.
None of my drug addict friends ended up in Malibu selling art for $80,000.
Yep, I spent a good 5 to 7 years, depending on how much drug usage and how deeply affecting your life you would call being an addict. But 5 to 7 years around in there. Never had full-length nude pictures sent to whatever. never taken in the first place. I mean, maybe if I had more money, I would have. But I'm just gonna say, probably not. Guys, do not forget that we are 99 cents away from the goal.
You would have to find drug-addled people.
I mean, or 7 super chats. So you could do $7 or $1 will do it.
People who also were wealthy with connections of people in power, right?
Okay, that's
a
very
lot
true.
A
That
lot
may
of
be
junkies
true.
don't wind up that way. My point is this. It was
Apparently.
so wrong what was done to Trump. It was so wrong. It was so destructive that he then did the exact same thing.
Probably very low because whoever bought them is going to want to resell them. But I get your point.
It was so wrong. It was so destructive that he then did the exact same thing as soon as he got in power.
Well, what do we expect if this is the standards that we're all setting? It becomes, if this guy is
right. Yeah. So it's not okay. But now that we've made it okay, or it's okay to do this, but it's not okay because it wasn't okay before. So now that it's already been done, it's not okay. But when it was done and it was never done before, it's okay. What? Make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense. Make it fucking make sense. Like I'm making dollars. Let's fucking go. That is the goal match. Thank you so very, very much. See, if you guys work together, it could only cost, like, if 3 of you do 5 individual super chats like this, like, that's the goal. I put the dollar amount there because sometimes we do, you do more than $1. Sometimes we get PayPal, Venmo and stuff, but this counts. $15 where we don't have to hit $50 every time. It just, you know. So thank you very much. And then Unwanted Bo came in with another $2. Thank you so very, very much. Goal is a match. So let's double it for another $10. $10 will double it from 10 to 20. 10 to 20. Shout out to Box. Coming in. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Thanks. Like, I'll take a picture of my junk until we get 1,000 times Zoom. Let's go. No, thank you. Well, I kind of disagree. Let's see what ChatGPT says. Would there be resale value for the art that Hunter Biden sold? Right, he did it and then sold it, right? So it says in the traditional art world, resale value depends on demand, provenance, and critical reception. So in the case of Hunter Biden's art, current market reality, there's no real demand in the open market for his work outside of the political context. Okay, but that political context could be, you know, something. The buyers of Hunter Biden's art were largely anonymous and connected to political or social circles, not art collectors or galleries with resale intentions. Art critics and galleries have not embraced his work seriously. The provenance factor. His art might hold some resale value if you tied it to its notoriety, as in you're selling a piece of political history rather than fine art. That's what I was talking about. Think of more like owning a controversial artifact, not a Monet, but this type of value would likely come from a private buyer, not an art house or an auction. I never specified. The challenge is lack of market validation, no auctions, no collectors, reselling for profit, political baggage. Well, as you just said, like, many people who would buy political memorabilia don't want to be associated with Hunter Biden, or they wouldn't want to pay to be. I disagree with that wholly. Overpriced to begin with. Fair enough. And so, look at the verbiage that was used. The bottom line. So if after the bottom line, ChatGPT was like, here's a list of 400 videos that you need to watch in order to understand what the bottom line is, we'd probably be like, what the fuck, right? So in common parlance, when you're talking about things and you say, what's the bottom line? You're asking for the bottom line. So the bottom line, Hunter Biden's art has no real resale value in the traditional art market. Its only potential value is as a collector's item for people specifically interested in Biden's family controversies. That's a niche and volatile market. So that tells us nothing. So I'm going to remain with, if there was people to buy it in the first place, that same group of people would also want to move money using those paintings. Because if you think that there was ever sale value in those paintings, clearly there was not. Fine art is largely a money laundering scheme. All right. Finally, you guys did come to the conclusion that Elon walking was weird. Matthew King said the biggest difference was there was actual evidence of Ukraine's and Biden being in bed together. Yup, it's almost like it's not the same thing. Want to vote? So for Biden, Hunter Biden's art, it would be for very niche collectors. Yeah, those exist. If I was rich, I would buy that shit and put it in my living room. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. Point proven. Thank you.
If this is the standards that we're all setting, it becomes, if this guy is attacked relentlessly for being an asset of a foreign power, and then
it's still up. Epstein's just hanging out on the island. He looks at it every day and laughs.
Have the vice president's son in the Ukraine up to God only knows what, with a laptop full of pictures that
nothing came. No. A laptop full of pictures is not the standard. He said he was.
And why would we think that there wouldn't be other people that want to launder money and be like, well, we just laundered a shit ton of money using this painting. We've got more money to launder. Let's use the painting.
No. A laptop full of pictures is not the standard. He said he was on the take from Ukraine and all the money was going to his uncle and his dad. And by the way,
not all the money, just 10% for the big guy.
Joe should have never let his son be doing deals like he was when Joe was in office. My father would have never allowed it. My brother never did anything like that. He wouldn't allow me to do it. And I had opportunities for
paintings are tight
falling on my head all the time. That would have been legal, by the way.
Is that what you were referencing, Box?
Don Jr. had that laptop surface with those type of photos where you were
photos that are personally hurtful would be spread all over the place, and then some if it were the Trumps, in a way that it wasn't done with Biden. Even worse.
Would it have been blocked from Twitter? Probably not.
Intelligence chief said this was
even worse.
Russian disinformation, and it was censored for a period of time on X and some of the biggest media platforms in the world. And a lot of people would say that that's election interference. Yeah.
17%. 17% of the electorate. 17% of those who would have voted for Trump decided not to because, that voted for Biden would not have if they had seen that story. And if you said, plot twist, Epstein had 2 islands, like in Jurassic Park. The second one is where he raised the children, and that's where he is now. Sounds more likely than him Epsteining himself. That's what I got.
And some of the biggest media platforms in the world. And a lot of people would say that that's election interference. You had guys like John Brennan and Hayden and Clapper, and these are like the kings of the national security state. These are not underlings. They're not people that aren't good at spotting what Russian disinfo was, right? John Brennan led the CIA for many years.
Yeah, but are they experts? That's the real question. Are they experts?
I'm sure he knows what Russian disinfo is.
But even if they come to conclude.
Oh, please do not. I was joking. I swear to God, he better not say that.
Conclude, well, no, because they're not doing the vetting anymore. They're just taking the findings of their agencies. And that's their mistake.
He didn't so much in so many words. But he's like, yeah, but we can't really trust them. Oh my God.
Well, no, because they're not doing the vetting anymore. They're just taking the findings of their agencies. And that's their mistake. That's their mistake. But the idea that therefore they're on par with a Dave Smith is also a mistake.
Whoa, what?
Their mistake. But the idea that therefore they're on par with a Dave Smith is also a mistake. What I'm saying.
Oh, okay, well, he's about to say what he's saying because I don't really know what that's supposed to mean. So my neighbor does paintings. His house is full of. He wanted a canoe paddle I had to do painting on, and I asked for a painting in exchange, and he gave it to me. Best trade ever. I have a dog training client who does. Why am I backwards? It's hard to point when that thing. It didn't paint it for me, but he does them, and he's like, "Here, you want this one?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll put it in the studio, not my living room, the studio." All right, what is he saying?
Is at some point somebody's got to get into the business of better, my brother. Somebody's got to get into the business of better.
That's a good slogan. The business of better.
Because otherwise, it never ends.
It's like a home improvement company.
What Hunter Biden did was beyond the pale. Okay.
Yes.
Ivanka Trump went as an emissary of the United States to China and asked them for 6 patents that they gave her.
Yeah.
While she was working for the United States government.
I don't
Who
like
would
a lot.
ever
Listen,
do that?
I don't like the crypto stuff.
But I'm saying it never ends.
There's
They're
a lot of
starting a
stuff.
gentleman's club right
He did.
now, 500 grand to sign in DC.
There's a lot of stuff right now going on with the Trump administration that everybody's been very critical of, especially on the right. The deportations. People do not like these college kids that wrote an article or critical or attended a protest. Now, if they committed a
Let's okay. Fuck. So I do want to ask you guys about this, but I have a feeling that some of you guys are not going to know the reference unless I directly pull it up. But let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. This is what we're talking about. I'm going to do it. I'm going to play the video while I'm typing. But this is what we're talking about. Deportation.
not like these college kids that wrote an article or critical or attended a protest. Now, if they
That's specifically what I'm talking about. There was a girl who wrote an article that was asking her school, not the government, her school, to divest from Israel, and they deported her for it.
people do not like these college kids that wrote an article or critical or attended a protest. Now, if they committed a crime or violence or something like that, it's a different story. But like deporting people to an El Salvadoran prison that are U.S. citizens are bad. Alex Jones said that, right? Like there's a ton of stuff that people are unhappy with Trump about. I don't think people love the crypto stuff. I don't think people elected Trump for a strong border, a strong economy, and to bring back common sense to the culture. And if he does those things, I think he'll be a very big success. I think he's gotten very distracted. I think a lot of people are noticing that. And I think a lot of people are calling him out, including Joe Rogan. I've called it out. A lot of people have called it out. I think there are people that are on a...
Okay, so I'm putting an option that says, should that girl who wrote the student op-ed have been deported? Yes, no, or I'm going to give you the option to say, I don't know the story. But unless there is something very specific that you would need to know, then it literally is just one op-ed to the school saying, please divest the school's money from Israel. Please. That's it. That's what we're talking about.
Frequency where they'll never criticize him, but I think a lot of people on the right are really starting to criticize a lot of what's going on.
Well, I'm not a big fan of...
All right, we are not for the Constitution then, okay?
criticism because it's too easy.
Yeah, I'm being hyperbolic.
And deporting Americans isn't happening. There was one hairdresser who's an American who was left in the lockup in Florida wrongly, and he's going to get a nice civil settlement, would be my guess, after he produced his citizenship proof.
We'll say, according to my personal opinion, because I mean, we could find the letter, but I mean, you know, generally the point of this question is to see whether you're willing to say, okay, there clearly we can go too far here. So let's say, in my opinion, there was nothing crazy egregious in it. That's as far as I can go without, you know, just pulling up the damn thing. I mean, Google it if you if I remembered her name, I could find it pretty easily. I don't remember her name. Shout out to Dixon Insider. Said free speech doesn't mean free from consequences. The left, yeah, and we all called them fucking losers and betas and gay for thinking like that. So if you want to be stupid and a loser and gay, then go ahead and act like the woke left. But I don't like the woke left, so I'm going to act differently from them. But either way, welcome to the party. Shout out to Stutter and John.
And he's going to get a nice civil settlement.
I know it's the guy in your picture.
That would be my guess. After he produced his citizenship proof, they left him there for over a day waiting for ICE. He's going to sue. He's going to win. But nobody was deported. Trump, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Trump does not get the benefit of saying things the wrong way with the media.
Yeah.
He gets asked about, he's being asked about what the constitutional standard is for due process. Okay. Let's just start with the idea of why expertise matters. We both know.
Oh, Jesus. You have to have been. You have to have been. So Matthew says if she's just about pulling money from Israel, then no. If she was supporting Hamas, then get out. Agreed. She was not supporting Hamas. She was just asking the school to divest. And so we have 50% of you saying no. We got 8. Let's get, if we can get 2 more votes, I'll be happy.
Is for due process, okay? Let's just start with the idea of why expertise matters. We both know Donald Trump doesn't know shit about due process, where it comes from in the Constitution, what it means, what it doesn't mean. He doesn't know. We both know that. He is not a student of
legal
law.
scholars would also fight about it when it comes to people that aren't citizens, probably.
Well, but here's what you can fight about whatever you want.
Right.
The Fifth Amendment is pretty clear, and anyone who can read the language will make it through 90% of it, which is if you are on land that is in the jurisdiction of the United States, you're entitled to due process under their laws. How much? That's the question.
That is the question. So I was out for Mother's Day. My parents were in South Carolina for Mother's Day. So the following weekend, we went out and we were talking about the Abrego Garcia guy. Yeah. Box, where the fuck were you? Were you here when Devon was here? Either way, right? Because he was like, "Yeah, fuck that shit. He belongs here. Needs this and that and that." And I'm like, "No." But so we had Devon saying that Garcia, Abrego Garcia, whatever the fuck his name is, the MS-13 gang member needs to get the same level of due process as American citizens. Then my parents were saying due process is for American citizens. Nuh-uh. Not when it says persons. And so I had to explain to my parents that due process just means the process that is due. So it may be the process that is due may be different for an American citizen than a visa holder or someone who's here illegally. Sure. But if you're saying no due process, then you could just take someone off the street and they don't have a chance to show, no, I'm actually a citizen. Here's my license. Here's my passport. Here's my birth certificate, whatever. That would be a process that is due to them. Hence, due process. And they're like, oh, yeah, I guess. There you go. Yeah, due process.
States, you're entitled to due process under their laws. How much? That's the question. That's the question.
Right.
Is someone who enters illegally entitled legally to as much due process as Tim Dillon? Nope. And nobody ever said otherwise. How much? How does it manifest itself? In what context? Debatable, subject of legislation and case law. But what I'm saying is this. Trump says, I don't know.
All right. I got it. So let's go through it and see. We'll end this one, and then we'll get rid of that. And so we'll say should. I don't know what fucking name. Should or better is this grounds for deportation? Deportation for someone with a student visa. This is not someone who was just here illegally. She had the student visa. So, what does it say? No one should be arrested or deported. Wait. This is not it. ChatGPT, you fucking with me. Hold up. What are we doing here? Under the Guardian. No, I want the fucking. What is a link to the op-ed that she wrote? It's a question. I want to see the original. Or just fucking write it. Isn't this the same fucking thing? Try again, President. Okay, there we go. I think it was Fatima was the one we're talking about, but either way, so it's not even just her. She co-wrote it. So it says on March 4th, the Tufts Community Union Senate That's the school passed 3 out of 4 resolutions demanding that the university acknowledge the Palestinian genocide, apologize for university president Sunil Kumar's statements, and to disclose its investments and divest from companies with direct or indirect ties to Israel. Divest from companies with direct or indirect ties to Israel. These resolutions were the product of a meaningful debate by the Senate and represent a sincere effort to hold Israel accountable for clear violations of international law. Credible accusations against Israel include blah, 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 all that shit. Unfortunately, and again, I'll just leave it up in case you want to see exactly what it is. Unfortunately, the university's response to the Senate resolutions has been wholly inadequate and dismissive of the Senate, the collective voice of the student body. Again, we're talking about the student government. We're talking about the Senate. Graduate Students for Palestine joins Tufts Students for Justice in Palestine, the Tufts Faculty and Staff Coalition for Ceasefire, and Fletcher Students for Palestine to reject the university's response. Although graduate students were not allowed by the university into the Senate meeting, again, the school Senate meeting, which lasted for almost 8 hours, our presence on campus and financial entanglement with the university via tuition payments and the graduate work that we do on our grants and research makes us direct stakeholders in the university's stance. I mean, again, you can agree or disagree, but fair enough so far. While an argument may be made that universities should not take political stances and should focus on research and intellectual exchange, the automatic rejection, dismissive nature, and condescending tone in the university's statement have caused us to question whether the university is indeed taking a stand against its own declared commitments to free speech, assembly, and democratic expression. Irony! According to the Student Code of Conduct, active citizenship, including exercising free speech and engaging in protests, gatherings, and demonstrations, is a vital part of the Tufts community. In addition, the Dean of Students' Office has written, while at times the exchange of controversial ideas and opinions may cause discomfort or even distress, our mission as a university is to promote critical thinking, rigorous examination and discussion of facts and theories, and diverse and sometimes contradictory ideas and opinions. Why then is the university discrediting and disregarding its students who practice the very ideals of the critical thinking, intellectual exchange, and civic engagement that Tufts claims to represent? How far? This is fucking long. I didn't realize it was this long. But I mean, okay, so let's do this. Control F, Hamas, not in there. Terror, not in there. Riot, not in there. Protest? Okay, we've yep, that's from the only word protest is quoting the Student Code of Conduct. What other words could possibly be? What about violence? No. What about I don't know. But we read a big part of it, and that's the main thing. If you want to read the entire thing, you saw we got through a little bit, but it's got, actually it's not that long. All right, we'll go quickly. So the role of the Senate resolution is abundantly clear. The strong lobbying tool that expresses to the Tufts administration the wants and needs of the student body. They speak as a collective. In this case, the systemic changes that the collective voice of the student body are calling for is to end its complicity with Israel insofar as it's oppressing the Palestinian people. A right that is guaranteed by international law, they say. This collective student voice is not without precedent. So it's been done before under apartheid. Michigan State passed resolutions to end its associations with apartheid. We reject any attempt by the university or office to summarily dismiss the role of the Senate. The open and free debate is there, blah, 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 blah. Quoting James Baldwin, we urge President Kumar and the Tufts administration to meaningfully engage with and actualize the resolutions passed by the Senate. That's it. That's it. And she was deported. So we cool with that or nah? Let's see what y'all be saying. Dillon said, news media doesn't seem to know what a riot is. Yikes. Matthew said it could be just a judge reviewing a case and saying yep or no, not a real trial or defense. Exactly, just the process that is due. She was a student. Yes, she was a student on a student visa, being a student as a student. Fox said, I am pro-protest. I am pro-boycott. I am not pro-rioting. Me too. Dylan said, okay, but also, what do these would-be / so-called activists want us to do about this? I'm always annoyed and somehow disappointed by the people with more noise than plan of action. I think it was pretty clear that they wanted the school to divest from those companies. They don't want us, you and I, to do anything. They were specifically saying, we want the school to do this. People are definitely dumb. Ox said, streets made sense when... What the fuck? King said, how does this get to the powers that be? I guess someone had to report them, maybe. Weird. Yep. We could definitely check October 7th. Sure. Let's see if October 7th is in there. Nope. Not even referenced. Yes, I am Kumar. What seems like bullshit. Want to vote said student visa holders are granted First Amendment rights in the U.S. unless there was actionable reasons. Simply writing the op-ed isn't a valid reason, legally speaking. Bingo. Yep. So no. This was the one, and they were saying that the Senate wasn't necessarily allowing the alumni to attend the Senate meeting. So where was it? Where was that? It was early on. I know it was Senate. Oh, God damn it. Okay. Let's see. What we talking about? Yeah. These resolutions. Oh, yeah. Graduate student. Right. Yeah. So although graduate students were not allowed by the university into the Senate meeting, which lasted for almost 8 hours, our presence on campus and financial entanglement with the university via tuition payments and the graduate work that we do on grants and research makes us direct stakeholders in the university stance. And so they're saying, even though I am a graduate student, so not an alumni, a current student, but doing graduate work, that because I'm paying you, and or because the government is giving me a grant through you, then what you do directly affects us. That is what they're saying. Also, the people of the world do not have the right to come into the United States for education or job or anything. Right, but she already had a visa, so she was given the right to come here. If you have a visa, you absolutely have a right to be here, unless you do something that breaks that. What do you... What, I don't... I forget what you said before now. Wait. How does this get to the powers? What do you mean this situation seems like bullshit? Like the op-ed is bullshit, or there's more to it, or the deportation? What are we talking about here? Now where the fuck is that comment? God damn it. Okay. I mean, just link this whole thing. Remember to link this thing with the Boy Scouts. Fatima was class of 27. Fair enough. Bach said President Xi's daughter goes to Harvard. How is that not a bigger story? I did not even fucking know that. So King says her getting deported. I agree. That was bullshit. But Indy disagrees. I got an idea. If you don't like what your university does with its money, go to a different university. Okay, fine. Go. Which is the university that's not entangled with companies that are related to Israel? This is a bad take, brother. This is a bad take. So you're not in favor. So you don't like the First Amendment. Let's just get this clear. This means that you don't agree with the First Amendment.
legislation and case law. But what I'm saying is this. Trump says, I don't know. I don't know about this due process thing. I don't know. Well, Marco Rubio said, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I got lawyers. Okay. But, you know, you're supposed to defend the Constitution, right? Again, he says, I don't know. Media goes crazy. We just had the first president in American history saying he doesn't think he's supposed to defend the Constitution. Is that what he said? No, that is not what he said.
Right.
Is that what he meant?
Yeah.
Hell no, it's not what he meant.
No, and I think that, but it's just, I will say that instinctively, and I think this is a credit to people on the right who everyone says are a mindless cult of zombies that follow him. When he does something they dislike or they instinctively feel could be an issue, a lot of people are speaking up.
71% of you have the correct opinion that if you have a student visa in America, you are entitled to the freedom of speech. And that is a wrong thing if you get deported for saying things that people don't like, as long as it's not along the lines of inciting violence or any of those things. If there's a university here I'm thinking about going to, and I find out they donate a bunch of money to Planned Parenthood, should I just decide to go to a different university? This is such a stupid take. What the fuck are you talking about? October 7th happened after she was already in school, after she was already here. How the fuck do you think that she wasn't supposed to, how do you think that she was supposed to know that October 7th was going to happen? And like, I'm not expecting that she would have been, you know, up and up on Israel and Palestine because she's fucking 19. So this happens. She has opinions, very reasonable opinions in the Overton window. And you're saying, get her the fuck out of the country because you don't like what she says? Wokey! Indie films are wokey!
It's like, or they
Yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want, but I'm also free to say that you're fucking stupid for thinking that.
Instinctively feel could be an issue. A lot of people are speaking up.
So, okay, what happens if your job then starts doing, you already work at that job. You've got insurance with that job. You depend on that job for your family, and then the CEO decides to go woke. Just find another job, right? Yeah, because the job market is fucking easy. This is just dumb. This is dumb. This is dumb thinking. Both of you, it's dumb thinking. I'm sorry, it's dumb. It is wrong that that girl was deported. This is fucking America. The First Amendment. The First Amendment. It's first for a fucking reason. But only, you know, the people that I like, only the people that I agree with. That is wokeness. That is wokeness.
Like, or they instinctively feel could be an issue. A lot of people are speaking up. More so than I think people would have expected.
Maybe. I mean, look, I think part of that is because he's doing things that they didn't expect when they voted for him, which, you know, you now have people saying, well, shame on you. This is what you get. We told you this was going to happen, which I think is also gratuitous, which is, by the way, my biggest beef with our media culture. And I include all of us in that, which is everybody's a Monday morning fucking quarterback now. Everybody knew that the vaccine wasn't a vaccine. Everybody knew that everything that was done during the pandemic was wrong. Everybody knew these things. And
So I'm on Defoe, so just going to toss this out there. Even the smallest criminal violation can be grounds for revoking a student visa, even something stupid like jaywalking. I am all for that. So show me the criminal violation that this girl committed, and then we're on the same page. But that didn't happen. She just said, I don't like this. Please, 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 sir, might you do this? Gone. That's America, Jack. Not the America I want to live in. Not the America I want to live in. So I don't know what to tell you. Well, so we get to tell the government to fuck off. I don't like the Mexican flag, but that's my problem. I mean, what do you mean? We definitely get to tell the government to fuck off. But, like, again, that's not even what she did. She didn't tell anybody to fuck off. She asked politely to stop giving money to what she thinks is a genocidal thing. Matthew's saying, I'm not saying don't complain, but if they don't listen, then you need to walk away. Or do you keep giving money and time to people that hate you? But how do you know that they're not going to listen? They have to not listen to the op-ed after you write it. How do you know that they're not going to listen to an op-ed if you have not yet written the op-ed? Okay, so we only have one retard in the chat. And like, I get what you're saying, that like, yeah, if you're in a position to like, when you, I mean, I don't know the details of a student visa, but I'm pretty sure you can't just be like, I'm going to transfer. Wake Up Mind said, should I subscribe? I think you should, but I'm clearly biased. So I'm going to ask the rest of the chat, should Waco Mind subscribe? I said, trust, I'm still retarded. All right, fair enough. Welcome to the party at Waco Mind. But yeah, I don't, what is the argument? What is the argument that she should, instead of, what is the argument? What should she have done instead, any film? Come on, man.
Everybody knew that everything that was done during the pandemic was wrong. Everybody knew these things. And I lived it in real time and people didn't know shit.
You mean people like you? Because we knew shit. Dave Smith, that you've been talking shit about all throughout this, knew exactly what the fuck is good. Maybe you didn't know shit. Projection. Dilly.
And the first time that I brought up the lab leak story, I got shut down by the Trump White House. The first time I brought up whether or not they were going to investigate where it's
Yep. Yeah. Cuomo is the poster boy boomer.
Started and whether
nothing to add. Completely agree.
The first time I brought up whether or not they were going to investigate where it started and whether it was intentional, I was told to shut up by Redfield and the other people. But everything is hindsight's 2020. What I'm saying is he's doing things that are disruptive for the right. Tariffs are anathema to fiscal conservatives.
Right.
So they didn't expect that, even though he said he was going to do it, but we've all gotten used to him saying a lot of things, but not doing those things, or at least not doing them the way he said he would. And then he did it. And then he overdid it. And now they're having to deal with that and they're upset because a lot of them are market sensitive. And that's okay. That's part of the business. Trump doesn't deal with it well, which is why he's doing what he does best. He's distracting now with Tina Peters. Tina Peters is a political hostage. How is she a political hostage? How? How is she a political hostage? But all these people echo it. The same people on the right that support these other things are now saying Tina Peters is a political hostage.
Who is Tina Peters? I can't even keep up.
So Tina Peters is the lady who was the county clerk in Colorado who did the Stop the Steal thing and brought the people in to show the extra databases and then gave it to the MyPillow guy. And then she got busted for letting in someone who wasn't supposed to be on the inside and releasing information that actually did have sensitive information that could be used to compromise the voting systems. So she was indicted and prosecuted and found guilty. And then she was sentenced to 9 years, which was too long, in my opinion.
It's a lot. It's heavy.
Because state crime, I thought it was heavy. I read the judge's rationale. I get it. She basically told him to fuck himself a couple of times during the trial.
You can't do that. United, I despise this man so much. He sneaks into my feeds and I watch him occasionally, but the last few weeks, he has slipped back into the old Cuomo more and more. I really thought he was turning a corner when, after that Dave Smith debate. And, it didn't look like he was a completely changed man, but it looked like he was going on a journey. I guess some people just never change. Okay, boomer.
Figuratively.
She's a spirited woman.
So he dropped the hammer. Okay. But not a political prisoner. Why? Well, because she did what they said she did. And Trump says it was the Democratic Attorney General. No, it wasn't. It was a Republican district attorney who brought the case and investigated all the allegations. But now we get all these people echoing it. So if you're going to bitch about Russiagate, which you should, You can bitch about that. Don't start advancing bullshit because it works for your side.
No.
Why not? Why not? I'm not saying I am, but why not? It worked for you. It worked for your entire side for years. Why not?
I mean, listen, 1,000%. I don't think people have an interest in him relitigating the 2020 election. I do think 9 years is a bit extreme, but I think people elected him for the 3 reasons I said. They want an economy, strong borders, they want common sense in cultural spaces, and that is what he offered. And I think, again, that's what the Democratic Party failed to offer. They've now spun this narrative that it's all podcasters and Joe Rogan who swayed the election, but they tried to run a guy who
they say that, I haven't heard that much.
Oh, it's every
motherfucker. I was gonna say a word I shouldn't say. Motherfucker, you just said it in this episode. You just said it in this episode.
The interview I do, and I'm you didn't ask me, but
unless he's trying to say, well, I'm on top of it, pointing out these fucking podcasters. Excuse me, fucking podcasters, but everybody else, I haven't heard that. Unless that's what he's saying, which I don't think it is.
You say that, I haven't heard that much.
Oh, it's every interview I do, and I'm you didn't ask me, but every single interview they all go, all these podcasters swayed the election. I'm like, you ran a terribly unpopular candidate.
Yeah, they're full of shit.
Yeah,
they're full of shit. Most of the voters don't even listen to podcasts. That's not what it was. They said the border wasn't a problem. They ignored it. Why? Because the left flank of that party believes that there is advantage in showing that the right is heartless to the immigrant experience. And that we are all about immigrants. We're all immigrants here. Let's love them up and be compassionate to whatever brought them here. Relax on enforcement. It was an extension, theoretically, of the defund the police.
Yeah.
Of force.
Which was such a fantastic idea, right? What is all of this? What are we doing here? I've got Cradle in my teeth, so I'm going to stay right here. Oh, we can do this. I got Cradle in my teeth, so I'm going to stay right here while I pour my drink. United said both him and his brother managed to reinvent themselves because people have such short memories. I mean, his brother killed hundreds, maybe more elderly. Yep. So what is this? Let's use our words.
As a mechanism. And they caved to that. And that was on them. And Biden was a lousy candidate.
Yeah. You also had a lot of people on the right with that issue, which is interesting, for many, many years that really wanted cheap labor. And
they still do.
And they still do. And so there's a lot of people, Chamber of Commerce, Koch brothers, a lot of those people are very pro immigration. And that's where I think when we talk about conspiracies or whatever, this idea of us versus them, or there's an amorphous blob or a deep state or whatever, people start going, hey, man, I didn't get a vote on this. Mm-hmm. I got elements of the far left, elements of the far right, really well-funded, powerful groups of people making decisions that dramatically impact and affect my life. And there's no way for me to push back on any of that stuff. And I think that's why the Trump candidacy got so much support in 2016.
It goes to exactly what you said. The type of people, like most people are not going back to a Chris Cuomo, but there's enough people who have that short-term memory. And, between the short-term memory, the tribalism, the confirmation bias, you put all that together. And when it happens to be that the things that they want to think or the things that Chris is saying, then they don't really care. They don't care.
You had Hillary Clinton about to run against Jeb Bush. It was an oligarchy.
Yes.
And America pushed back on it.
Well, I'm just asking questions. I'm just pointing things out.
And I think the Democrats indicted Trump back into prominence in the last election, and he ran on the same issues.
United is based, and not only that, but he joined the free Discord and was hanging around, and by just engaging with people, you get experience points and your level goes up, and now he is a full discipled member of the Discord just by hanging out and talking to people. So obviously I would like if you would become a member either way, but if you join the free Discord and you just talk to people, you will eventually, and I don't know, United, how long did it take for you? Eventually you'll get your level up and you'll get all the permissions. So even if everything we're doing here, guys, everything, I'm trying to make a free way to get and be a part of this because we're doing something real here. But like I tell you guys, it's not something I can do alone. It's not something I can do alone. And so I need you guys. Yeah, so a couple months of just hanging out and talking to people, and then boom, 2 or 3 months, And now he can be part of the after party. He doesn't come through, but you know that's his choice. But the disciple chat, movie nights, all that kind of stuff, he has access to. So come on through. All right, let's finish this up. I got up here.
I'm back into prominence in the last election, and he ran on the same issues that propelled him. And these were the same things. Biden letting in 10 million people.
Yes.
People feeling like public safety was at risk in the inner cities because of liberal DAs that were kind of out of step with like
I agree with all
policies.
of this. I agree with all of it. Your analysis is spot on, unless we're both wrong. But we're building.
I can't believe we will never be.
We're both building backwards from the same conclusion where we
ain't no rumor, baby. I mean, ain't no Diddy party, but
know where we are and how we got here seems fairly obvious.
There you go. Come talk to United in the after party, guys. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, let's find out. If you guys are enjoying the show, the party rages on 24/7 over in our Discord. The link is pinned to the top of the chat and is absolutely free to join 24/7. We're in there hanging out, having a great time. And guys, it is absolutely free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below that video and hit that join button. Starts at $2.99. There's a few different tiers, but $2.99 will get you in. It gets you members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it opens up the full Discord server. So we've got the free chat that is open to anyone. Anybody can join and talk. But as you can see, that is just one of our channels. There's a bunch of different channels here, including our disciple chat for members only, our word of the day watch party, where we're talking about all this stuff. And of course, we have the voice channel here, where we are hanging out at this moment. Shout out to everybody in the Discord server. Say hello and tell them to come and join.
Hello, come and join.
There you go, guys. Simple as that. See you there. All right. See you there. And like we said, guys, if you join while the stream is still going, just click that free link at the top of the chat and you will get a free day pass to the after party, which is typically for members only. I got what does United say? No diddling. I'm out. Okay, maybe we can diddle a little bit, but only with consent. But he said I'll be in tonight. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Let's go. Let's go. You're not bad at Discord. You need to talk over people a little bit, but hey, we get excited. It's all right. We're family. We're family.
Building backwards from the same conclusion where we know where we are and how we got here seems fairly obvious. The question is where you go. My problem with Trump is right now I have a new problem with Trump.
You have a new problem with Trump. Cool. Great. Don't really care. Have you made a, have you edited your thoughts about your old problems with Trump? Didn't think so.
Old problem with Trump was,
I mean, hey, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I just said, we ain't going to be diddling.
He's a pain in my ass. He's saying shit all the time that
without consent.
I can't let go. Otherwise, I'm being as unserious as he is in that moment.
Yeah.
And yet nobody gives a shit. So how do I balance those things? That was my old problem. And then he weaponized me, made life hard for my wife and my kids. And I asked him to stop and he didn't. So that was my beef. It was personal. Now I have a new beef, which is he is so close to the
right answer. He's so close to being exactly what I want him to be, but he's not because of this. I guarantee you he's going to say something along those lines.
Signature issue of your and my generation. He's so close to it, which
the
is...
tower in Dubai. I agree with you. It is luxurious and it's beautiful.
In Gaza.
Yeah, or Gaza. I think they're actually
from
both
Gaza.
stunning.
He's so
and
close to a big golden head of himself.
Luxury is the defining issue of my generation. How we live.
Yeah, I don't think anybody made life hard for Chris Cuomo. Other than Chris Cuomo. Maybe Andrew Cuomo, but certainly a Cuomo.
A lifestyle, building with a lifestyle with the right amenities, private restaurants, a 24-hour house car, 1,000%. These are the issues. Couple of pools, a lap pool, a lounge pool, couple of Baja decks. I'm fully with you. Room service, concierge, 24-hour lifestyle manager, 1,000%. That is it. But I don't love the design because it's one tower. I say go three. Go three. Go a 3-tower
celebration of the Trinity.
Well, what is the define?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I hate him so much. Like, you're not the comedian. Just you brought on a comedian. Exactly. I was gonna address that too, but then the celebration of the Trinity. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Go a three tower
in celebration of the Trinity.
Well, what is the defining? What do you
Here's
think
the
it is?
defining
Yeah.
issue of our generation, and Trump is right on top of it. Okay, he's actually even said it once at least. America to move
It's Theo, it's Theo.
move forward as any extension of the dream has to rethink the benefits and burdens and how they're shared of how our economy works. Now, I am not a communist. I'm a capitalist, okay? We have certain socialist aspects to our system, right? Public education, entitlements, there are socialistic things. Bankruptcy laws for corporations, these are socialistic. However, he's on top of that with where he started before he did the tariffs. The corporate class raped our buyer base, made their shit somewhere else, used other people just because it was cheaper and they didn't have to deal with any of the protections of the labor or of the environment. And then they sold it all to us, but we weren't making the money anymore to buy the stuff. And so the gap between the top and the middle has grown exponentially in the last generation. That is the defining issue. What do you do about it? I don't know. But Trump has...
Of course, no solutions, just bitching.
identified that issue. Now, the way he is saying to solve...
Guys in the after party, remind me to change out the fucking thing with the fruit flies. I don't know if you can see them fucking flying. There's two of them, and they're just fucking like, I think they're mating. I don't like it.
Solve it. I totally get the criticism of it from the right and the left. We want to make t-shirts and sneakers here. No, we don't. We want the
we do.
Good jobs here. Let them keep those jobs. But
how about both?
How you rethink the share of burden to benefit that people get for the American market is the issue. And he is on it the way I have never heard a Democrat on it. Never.
I agree.
And it's funny how I never heard a Democrat. To him, that means I've never even heard someone who's on the good team talk about it like this. That's what he means.
And he is on it the way I have never heard a Democrat on it.
Not even a good guy. Not even a good guy. Hey, shout out to Box. Said with the $2. Thank you. Said, good men go in, robots come out. What is happening here? Sorry. Hold on. I need some extra slack here. I can't reach you, Mort. I can't reach you. Oh no. Dun 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 dun. Where is this coming from? Oh, is it tied up? Jesus Christ, I'm on a mic. Hold on, I fixed it. Found it. Up. There we go. Here you are, sir. And thank you again, $2 for the $2. Good man, go in. Robots come out. We need solutions. Indeed. Isn't he? Every donation comes with a treat. Guys, $8 more and we've doubled the goal. We're only at 10 because we missed it, but Box came in and $8 more and we double the goal. And I'm pretty sure we want all the jobs here. Bingo. I said shit. Me too.
Is the issue. And he is on it the way I have never heard a Democrat on it. Never.
I agree with you. I think that was very well said. I think he gets it. I would also extrapolate. I think it's encouraging that he's saying to Europe, you have to step up and pay for more of your defense. And I think I agree with you.
So what you do about it, he took a huge turn by doing what he always does. He goes very fast and far.
I didn't even know that JD did a speech recently.
In a direction. And look, the guy isn't known for running things, managing things, being a strategy and an implementer. That's not what he's known for. It's not a coincidence that he had as many corporate bankruptcies as he had.
I was like, who is he talking about? He can't possibly be talking about Trump. So you're like 17 and you don't understand what a corporate bankruptcy is. Okay. Fair enough. You born to a political family and got a nepotistic. Is that a word? You got a job due to nepotism. So you've never actually tried to do anything in your life. So failure is a sign of bad things, when in reality, we understand that failure is part of the process to success.
But he is a vision guy, and he is a salesman. And he is right. That's the defining issue of how do you figure. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. Maybe Dave Smith knows, but I don't know.
I think he does, at least better than you.
Oh,
I mean, I think we all do better than you, but
how to deal with it being 345x from the management to the people who are making the money for the corporation. And if you touch that, you're fucking with capitalism. But if anything happens to that system, we bail them out. And that's not offensive to capitalism. He has defined this. Bernie Sanders talks about it also, but his solution structure is overtly offensive to capitalist society.
Sure.
So there's an amazing opportunity there, and Trump is right on top of it.
Yeah.
And instead of just sinking his teeth into it and doing what is really hard in politics, which is saying, fuck, I did too much with the tariffs too soon. I did. We're gonna have to rethink it and go at it a different way. I got some people's attention.
Because I do think they're in
Let's see how it plays out. It was like, yeah, Trump is not known for running things. Okay, now I can activate my eye roll. Not like he ran a bunch of companies to billions of dollars. And there was one other thing that he ran, and I mean, did it pretty well. What was it called? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Hold on, wait. There was something else that Trump was in charge of, and he did like a really good job. Like, oh yeah, America. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm just stunned. All right, he was running the Mexican restaurant in Trump Tower. Yeah, that was it. Those tacos are on point.
I did. We're gonna have to rethink it and go at it a different way. I got some people's attention
because I do think they're a negotiating tool. I don't know how good those negotiations will go, obviously, but like, let's see what happens. You know, the All-In podcast made an interesting point. They said, in any negotiation, if you set the bar very far away, it gives you maximum leverage.
The big ask.
To just land in a place that's good. I agree with you. I have the same concerns. I think partially it's...
Hey! Don't talk about Ivanka and Melania like that. Tiffany is fair game, though.
Finding the problem and then figuring out how to chip away at it using different weapons. And I think one of them is trying to rebalance trade. Another one is trying to regulate immigration. Another one is trying to, probably, and it might affect me or you might have to raise taxes on wealthy people for a period of time. It is what it is. And a lot of it is seeing America as not just an economic zone, but a country where people have to live together and fight and die, fight and potentially die in wars to defend said country, and seeing it, and not in some nationalist, crazy Hitlerian way, but just in a way that like the American people should have a standard of living. It should be the envy of the world. We should be an example for the rest of the world. Our food should be healthier. Our streets should be safer. We have too much money in this country to have our cities look the way they do. We have too many freedoms in this country for those freedoms to be completely abused by people to just make vast sums of wealth at the expense of the middle class and the lower class. And,
I mean, yeah. Damn, put it down, Tim. And you say not one politician should have the office they have in 3 years. We need a 100% reset and return to the Constitution. Well, you're going to trigger indie film. All money should be removed from the election process and politics. I don't know how you do. Like, I get the issue of there being too much money in politics, but I don't understand what politics is without money. And I mean, maybe that is to the point, but what is that even? What is that even? So I feel you, but the place I work actually has it's a Mexican restaurant, but it's like very Americanized, and they have something called the Gringo Taco, and it's pretty white people, but that's what I get.
sums of wealth at the expense of the middle class and the lower class. And, you know, I don't think you can have this aesthetic politics of going, here's a trans Batman, or, you know, the CEO of this company is now a female of color. You need to actually address systemic structural issues.
It's not race, it's class.
Sure.
The issue is...
Oh, brilliant. I've never heard that before. Glad you finally figured it out. Although I kind of think you're just saying that in the moment, you know, like a Cuomo does.
Class.
Yeah.
And the missing piece of the capitalist philosophy is that it assumes there's no responsibility beyond profit. And that has never been a function of any great mercantilistic society. And that's what we've gotten away from. But that's the issue, brother.
Mercantilistic just means buy and trade, if you didn't know.
That's where all this other shit goes away. If we're focused...
No. The gringo taco is just like ground beef, cheddar jack cheese, I think like a little pico de gallo or something, and a little bit of salsa. But we have you know what? I don't even want to give. I'll tell you guys in the after party. I don't trust the fucking weirdos out there. They're gonna fucking Google what restaurant has all this shit. Where, you know, I'm good. Well, we'll talk about it in the after party. And Film said, Gringo Taco, is that Wonder Bread, bologna, and mayo? I mean, I wouldn't be mad if you called it that.
Away from, but that's the issue, brother. That's where all this other shit goes away. If we're focused on that, and this is a big fucking topic. There's like you said, there are a lot of different things that would have to happen, and how you do it, and consistently, and over what amount of time. But it is the way to get the majority with you. Because remember what's been happening the last 15, 20 years. Instead of tackling the big things, they developed the culture wars.
Okay, I will. So I don't disagree. Instead of tackling the big things, they develop a culture war. So far, I don't disagree, but I'm pretty sure that he's going to twist this into some bullshit.
Right. And just finding ways to get the majority to fight with one another over things that don't matter as much as the things that are being ignored to them all equally. So,
right. However, in defense of being a culture warrior or someone who talks about the culture war, people don't care about the big things. People don't care about the big things, not nearly to the level that they should. And they do care about the culture war things. I'm talking about people who are not in politics, people who are not, the normal average person who has kids and a job and shit to do, where you can't sit around all day and fucking read every news article and every fucking video that's out there. I've got 2 jobs, but like this is 3 if you count this one. But so this is part of my job. But point being, if people don't care about politics, then it's going to be very difficult to get them into a discussion about what we should be doing with Israel. But you can get them interested in politics by showing them that, hey, you know, your daughter that is going to soccer practice, you know, there might be a man who's pushing her around. A little slide tackle might break her fucking knees. Oh, you care now. And I agree that it would be better if that wasn't the main hook for most people, but it is what it is.
Should you have a high school volleyball player who's a female who's 6'2", 230 pounds? No, you should not have that. But let's fight about it, about what gender is. And
yeah, and that, I mean, there is a good, a lot of people who have this type of lifestyle or this type of job where you can, just pop headphones in and keep up with everything. But a lot of people don't.
Let's fight about that and ignore 345 for the CEO, 0 for 1 for the worker. Let's ignore that, which affects 60% of the country, 70% of the country.
Hold on, because this is a symptom of, if there is such a thing as white culture, this is a symptom of white culture. White people feel like hotter, when it comes to pepper, hot sauce, spice, hotter equals better. That's not how it's supposed to work. Y'all know fucking the bomb from First We Feast, the show with the wings. They bring on the celebrities. They go through the wings, and the second to last one is the bomb insanity. And all of them say, "Oh, that's not even enjoyable. That's just super hot." That's white people hot. Hot ones. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And no, not yet, but I do want to see it. I do want to see it. And we're getting to that time where we might be, you know what? We're gonna in the after party. We're gonna check if this is available, and maybe we'll do this for a movie night. Yeah. So this is a product of white people not understanding that, and I'm obviously speaking broadly, but white culture not understanding that spice is supposed to be flavor, not just like exactly. So like the one chip challenge shit, that's some white people shit. Maybe. What's going to do about it? What it?
Let's ignore that, which affects 60% of the country, 70% of the country.
Is Cuomo trying to make some equivocation between men and women, women's sports, and then CEOs making more money than employees? Is that where he's going? Let's back it up a little bit.
That don't make way. Instead of tackling the big things, they develop the culture wars. Right. And just finding ways to get the majority to fight with one another over things that don't matter as much as the things that are being ignored.
Right. But those are going to have way more flavor than the bomb.
To them all equally.
Actually, the one chip is that might also be an Asian thing, but like Asians and Indians are culturally very good at flavorful spice, whereas white people, it's just like, well, how hot is it? That's another thing. There's spicy margaritas at my restaurant, and they are spicy as fuck, but they're not very tasty. It's just the physical sensation of spice. When something is spicy, I want that flavor. But anyway, okay.
With one another over things that don't matter as much as the things that are being ignored to them all equally. So should you have a high school volleyball player who's a female who's 6'2", 230 pounds? No, you should not have that. But let's fight about it, about what gender is. And let's fight about that and ignore 345 for the CEO, 0 for one for...
So I don't think that's what he. So let me. He's trying to make some equation between men and women's sports, and then CEOs making more money than the employees. He is saying that CEOs making more money than the employees is a bigger issue than the trans in sports issue. So depending on who you are, what your circumstances are, that is a reasonable position. But he's acting as if because that is his position, it is the correct position. Because the trans thing is a culture war issue, it is inherently lesser. And again, you can have that position. But just because you have it doesn't mean it's right. And just because it is justifiable to have that position doesn't mean every other position is wrong.
And ignore 345 for the CEO, 0 for one for the worker. Let's ignore that. Which
shout out to Adobo.
Affects 60% of the country, 70% of the country. And let's talk about something that
feels very much like the stewards of the economy.
Papa Lutch loves Tabasco. I don't really like it. That being said, I would much rather go with Tabasco than something that's just hot for hot's sake.
Have driven it to a boom and bust cycle.
Yes,
that
for themselves.
Ignores people, and a lot of these people, you know, they love, you know, they'll show up in the south of France, they'll show up on the Mediterranean, they'll show up in Beverly Hills, they'll show up in Aspen. There's a great quote from a Nelson DeMille, Long Islander book called The Gold Coast, where it's a guy in the Gold Coast who said, "I've been in Manhattan and Beverly Hills and Palm Beach. I've never been to America." And that's a great quote. And I think that you can't just say we're going to have 10 zip codes where things work, and then we're just going to let everybody else, you know, deal with all these problems, and those people are rightfully angry.
I agree 100%. And I want to say thank you. I want to say that I'll give you my number. I'm always a text away. You ever want me on the show?
Thought we only had one fruitcake on the panel here, but let me get your number. Let me get your number. Let me get your number.
I want to say that I'll give you my number. I'm always a text away. You ever want me on the show?
Maybe the other people you mentioned weren't experts, but I feel like I feel like I'm the expert.
We'll have you been?
I think that's what we've learned at the end of this interview, that if the expertise means it's me. I didn't even realize early on, but now after doing this for an hour, I realize I think I'm an expert.
I have great regard for people who wear dark sunglasses. I'll just say that. In
these
fact,
aren't cheap. Steve Bannon's going to take these away and give them to people in Ohio.
I've never met a man with dark glasses on who couldn't be trusted. That's all I'm going to say.
I appreciate you. I mean, I'm Your Mother special on Netflix, if anyone cares. It's great to watch while you are addicted to fentanyl in the hovel that our country has allowed you to live in.
Fentanyl, the worst problem we've never dealt with.
We're not going to deal with it.
I mean, I can't disagree there. So they're just saying their goodbyes there. And yeah, it seems like there was a period where Chris Cuomo was coming back. Maybe never someone that I personally would respect. Maybe not somebody that anybody here would respect, but at least somewhat respectable. I don't like Frank's hottie either. But based on United, you were saying that he comes up on your feed sometimes, and he's gotten worse and worse. Excuse me, Jesus Christ, I'm gassy today. But that seems like the direction. It seemed like a short little, hey, I'm gonna try this to get some people on my side, and then I'm gonna go right back to what I'm doing. And if you are in the Northeast, then of course Hawaiian pizza is a very popular thing because you need good quality pizza to balance the sweet and savory. If you have some shitty Domino's pizza, then yeah, it's gonna taste like shit. But Hawaiian pizza is a thing for a reason. So let's do one last poll here. Pineapple on pizza. Tastes so good, makes you want to slap your mama. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no? Let me know. Because again, if you haven't had it on good pizza, then you don't really understand what we're talking about. I did not know that, but it works. Hey, that's I mean, I wouldn't do, I would do, the fuck, what is it? Not barbecue, chicken bacon ranch. Chicken bacon ranch is, I'm pretty sure that got started at Rutgers. I don't know, like, I've been told that, but like, that's what Rutgers students would say. Hold on, I'm asking, well, actually, hold on. Can I call to ask you on stream about some good hot sauces? Like 2 minutes. For like 2 minutes. You'll just be on the phone. If not, it's fine. If not, it's fine. So, oh, wow, 83, 86. 86% of you are down with the get down. I am surprised. Usually it is a virtue signal to be like, ew, pineapple on pizza, that's so gross. What about salted caramel? Same thing. Not exactly the same thing. Wake Up Mind said any one individual with enough power to unbalance the situation is considered a threat to the stability of the situation. Very, very true. All right, we're getting Papa Lutch on the line. So, okay, put the different ones in the chat that we like. So we have Frank's. Hello?
Hello.
Hey. So we were let me know if you guys can hear. So we were randomly talking about different peppers and stuff. And I was saying about how these Americans, and more specifically these white people, love the hotness for the sake of hotness. But as you taught me, that real spice should be flavor. So we were talking about, we know you love Tabasco. You like Cholula as well, right?
Yep.
So what are some maybe if you don't know the brand names, just like a like the type of pepper, what are some like low key ones that we can put these people on to get them some real spice?
Well, yeah, actually, I have a little bias because I like West Indian type pepper sauces because that's where we're from, and they tend to do extra flavors, extra things in there apart from just the heat.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
There's Jamaican choice. And they make all different varieties with the habanero peppers, which are a little hotter than most of the ones we see.
Habanero is the way to go.
Then, so Jamaican choice, there's Matouks from Trinidad, Matouks. And those are available in regular grocery stores, actually. And I recently found a one called Guyanese Pride. That's a little more difficult to find.
Guyanese Pride?
Yeah. And so those are my big three that I like. But again, it boils down to personal taste.
Sure.
And these have West Indian flavors, and they tend to, some of them have mustard in them, mustard oil in them, which actually adds a different type of flavor from the usual red sauces that we get. They don't tend to have mustard in them.
Mm-hmm.
So that adds a different blend to the peppers.
Can you think of one that maybe is a little bit more popular that you don't like because it's just heat for heat's sake?
Your sister's gonna kill me for this, but Red Hot I don't particularly like.
Let's go. Me neither. I do not like Red Hot. There we go. You heard it here. The West Indians know what is good. All right, we will.
Don't tell your sister I said that.
She's never watching this. A couple of people are saying good evening, Papa Lutch, and you have a great night. Thank you for your expertise, sir.
All right, take care. Enjoy, guys. Bye bye.
All right, take care. Bye. Told you. Franks ain't shit. Frank's some American bullshit. There we go. All right, guys, you know what time it is. Did we switch it to this? I forget if we wanted to do the, which one was it? Oh, yeah. Let's go. It's time to pay ourselves. You guys paid me, and now it's time to pay yourself. We hit 10 push-ups. I'm going to give an extra 5 because you guys were so awesome tonight. I'm going to do 15. You do as many as you can. If you can't do 15, do 5. If you can't do 5, do 3. If you can't do 3, do 2. And if you can't do 2, then, I don't know. What? Here we go. Whoa, go. Indeed. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, 13, 14, 15, and 1 for good luck. Accomplished. Thank you so very, very much to each one of you who donated, guys. It's a big, big deal to me. I know it's not a lot of money. Maybe it's a lot of money to you. It's certainly a lot of money to me, and it's a lot of part of it. I really, really, really do appreciate it. Thank you. Who we got here? That is awesome. We went through some shit, but we came through. Pop sounds cool. Too bad his son is a godless heathen. Yep, he would agree with you. They would agree with you. No, he is Trinidadian. So that's what he's talking about. West Indian. My mom is Jamaican. My dad is from Trinidad and Tobago. So both of my parents are our ancestry. Mostly on my dad's side is Indian. Mostly Chinese with a little Japanese on my mom's side. But both of their families are from the West Indies. Both of them are the Caribbean. So that's a little bit. That's why I don't necessarily have as much knowledge about like India and China and stuff because it's like 3-4 generations removed. There we go. 20 Tyson push-ups for Nick. Paying it yourselves. There you go. Thank you for stopping by, Waco Mine. Hopefully you hit that subscribe. Everybody who is new here, please do hit that subscribe if you have not already. Please do hit that like and share it with somebody, anybody. Doesn't even matter. It does not matter who you, or where you share it. The fact that it's out there. Here's another thing you guys could do that really does help. After the stream, leave a regular comment on the video. That also really helps. Those are 3 things that are free, easy, and take 1 second. Just do. You guys know I always use that emoji. Just put that in the comments after the fact. That will boost by a lot. Thank you guys so very, very. Yep, you heard it. You heard it. Yeah, I heard it. It's there. Wait till when family comes around. Like my mom's side of the family, they all live within the same kind of region in Florida, and they're always talking to each other. So the accent is still there. And my mom doesn't like it's. You could hear it, but like if you didn't know, then you probably wouldn't clock it. But she gets around her sisters and it's like, what a one. We're going to call in the buck again. Comes right back. All right, guys. Thank you again. Let's shout out all of the donations. We had Unwanted Foe come through. We had our boy Indie Film. Unwanted Foe again. We had our boy Box. Even after we hit the goal. And our boy Indie Film, who got us over the mark. But of course, we got to give a big shout out to the sponsor of the stream, our boy, the man, the legend, Funk Master General. Thank you guys so very, very much. I see a bunch of you in the after party already. That is where we are headed. I do so very, very much appreciate you guys being here, and I shout out to the all the disciples, and shout out to the true disciples. We got 2 of them. You know who you are. You guys are amazing. Thank you once again, guys. That is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.